Welcome to session 8 of our Storm and Sail campaign. Our band of brave buccaneers have made their way through fire and water to the Island of La Fortuna, accompanied by their previous foe, now tenuous ally, the cursed pirate Rot-eyed Jack, and his motley collection of fetid seamen. Although the captain has heard Jack's men talking and he suspects a bit of a double cross might be going on, he's not yet actually done anything about it, Captain Howe. He's seen a couple of Rot-eyed Jack's men talking. It's quite clear they've got plans of their own, but we'll see what happens with that. Pierre has inadvertently been linked with the daughter of one of the tribal chiefs, a woman by the name of Divala, who's been following him around. He's been told by the tribes that by making a great sacrifice to the island spirit, that bonding can actually be broken. As we rejoin our brave buccaneers, the camera zooms in on a small part of the jungle of the island of La Fortuna, this lush tropical jungle. Beyond where they've been making their camp is a small clearing. In that clearing, a battle of titanic proportions is taking place between two of the behemoths of the island. So intent are they on their battle that they don't seem to have noticed our buccaneers at all. But as they peer through the trees, they can see this huge silver-furred ape, this giant behemoth of the island, wrestling and struggling with an equally large anaconda. These two mighty giants of the animal kingdom, far larger than any animal you'll have seen previously, battling amongst each other. This huge ape trying to smash the head of the anaconda on the rocks and the trees, thrashing around the clearing, whilst the anaconda tries to coil around this great ape and squeeze the life out of it. The roaring of these beasts echoes throughout the clearing, dissipating over the islands, the sound absorbed by the thick foliage. And as they peer through the trees and they witness this clash of the titans in the clearing beyond, that is where we pick up our session. So I'm going to turn over to the players now to introduce themselves and say a little bit about what their characters are feeling as their goal lies almost within their grasp, the final end of their great journey, the trials they've been through. They could come out of this as wealthy as kings with perhaps the secrets of life and death itself. How does that make them feel? So first the camera pans round to the often worried, shall we say, Bishop Divala. Bishop Divala, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Lloyd. I'm playing Natal Divala. I was a mild-mannered scribe when this whole thing started, and now I'm a hardened scribe of the Seven Seas as it's about to end. I have seen the seas for everything and anything it has to offer, and I'm finding it very wanting. But I'm finally at the end of my goal. I have found my son, whom I have spent the last 6 months searching for. He is well and safe behind me, and now I have to go forward, find the Philosopher's Stone, cure the dread pirate who travels with me, and take him back towards my homelands, where I intend to fight the Inquisition and stop them from starting the Second Armada War. I am feeling extremely good and confident that things are going to turn out the way I wanted to, and as long as they don't, as long as my son is okay, nothing else matters.
Okay, thank you very much. Now the camera pans across as we see Bishop Divala peering through the foliage at this clash of these mighty behemoths, and crouched next to him, peering through the undergrowth, we see the figure of Captain Roland Howe. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, I am playing Roland Howe today, captain of these bag of miscreants and religious fanatics. When Roland first out on this mission, he didn't believe in this fabled city of gold, De La Fortuna, the Philosopher's Stone. He was in it for the money. He didn't really care about himself, even though he is. If people knew him well, they would know that he is actually a much better wind caller than perhaps he lets on. But finding out that the truth of this place is actually real and possible damnation as well as salvation can be found here, he now seeks to gain something that could change the future of his family, and possibly, from what he has seen, the future of the nation.
Thank you very much. The camera moves across to a third figure, a dashing figure with a rapier ever at his side, a man who is 3 times winner of the fencing nationals, who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. Pierre Dortan, always ready for action, whether it be with the ladies or with a rapier in his hand. Introduce yourself, sir.
Okay, I'm Rob the Swamper. I'm playing Pierre Dortan. At this very moment, he's probably enraptured with the spectacle of these 2 colossal beasts fighting. But prior to witnessing this, the quote marriage that happened on this thing, he pretty much considers a farce and not really worth his time. It was a trick, and he never agreed to anything overtly as far as he's concerned. So he doesn't consider that a major problem. It's minor in the scope of things. As far as a changing of the Inquisition or the bishop or anything like that, he cares little about the governments and who's in charge and stuff like that. He came on this ship and has been touring around with these guys for a while for the purpose of adventure, and he's largely experienced that. But this is pushing it, even for a thrill seeker like him. This is pushing it. He likes to live. I mean, some danger is fine, but if you're dead, you can't enjoy anything. He doesn't believe in giving himself really for a noble cause. Now, that said, the real reason he's seeking this out is not for riches for himself, which he would enjoy a little bit, but for the crew, which he respects and has worked really, really hard and sacrificed much to get to this point. So he wants to make sure that they see their reward. Now, we found Nathaniel's son. The only other checkbox in Pierre's mind is the crew gets paid. They get their reward. After that, his goal is, we're out of here. I don't care about anything else. He's only stuck around at this point because the ship's going to be a couple of days before it's ready to go anyway. But he's got to see this through for the gold for the men. So that's where he's at.
Okay, thank you very much. So the camera pulls out from these 3 figures crouched in the undergrowth. We see a few of these sailors from the ship nearby them, as well as the rotting crew members that Rot-eyed Jack brought with him. Rot-eyed Jack himself is also hunkered down next to you guys behind the trees, watching this clash of these 2 behemoths in the clearing beyond. The loud, sort of undulating echo of the ape billows out across the clearing. It must be heard for miles across the island, given the volume at it. It causes your ears to ring, it's so loud. You can see it's basically pummeling the face of this snake as the snake is wrapped around its midriff, and the 2 of them struggle backwards and forwards. As all of you look a short distance beyond the 2 battling behemoths, you can see what appears to be a sort of entranceway of some kind, built out of stone. It looks as though it's partially collapsed into the ground, but inside the entranceway it's just like a yawning sort of darkness, as though it descends into the bowels of the earth. You can see sort of small signs of gold leaf that must have once decorated this entranceway, and there are hieroglyphs carved into it, although it's difficult to get a good look at them, given the fact these 2 giant beasts are sort of clashing about in front of it.
Sacre man, I have never seen such animals. There, I give the captain like a little nudge, and I point to that opening. There, perhaps now is the time we should make the crossing while they are engaged with each other, eh? I do not wish to tangle with the winner of this battle.
I cannot fault you there, Pierre. But that beast would make a fine prize for your wedding. Would it not?
I'm just going to go.
Pierre sort of looks as though he's going to say something, then just like shakes his head and he's gone. Okay, I'm like sort of
crouch running, you know what I mean? Kind of thing, okay, towards this, hugging the foliage.
Yeah, not a problem at all. So Pierre's trying to sort of like hug the foliage and get across the clearing to this sunken entranceway, perhaps to the lost city. What about Captain Howe and Bishop Devola? What are the 2 of you doing?
Captain Howe will be following Pierre. Following Pierre as quietly as he can, pistols braced ready in case they are spotted.
And so at this point, I go, I don't think I'm very good at stealth, but I'll try.
Okay, at this point,
And I'm going to try and follow them, but terribly, because I'm really bad at this.
Okay, so I'll get you to automate your rolls in a second. Pierre's like started off a bit earlier, so he's already gone. Captain Howe and Bishop Devola, as the two of you are getting ready to move, you hear a slight rustling in the undergrowth behind you. And at this point, Bishop Devola, I'd like to offer you the first compel of this evening. Since blood is thicker than water, I'm going to say if you accept the compel, the rustling in the trees is actually your son, who's going against your wish. Just going, I can't let my father go through this on his own, and he's come to try and help you.
Wow, you're making a choice?
Yeah.
Seriously? Okay. Well, I'm off to take that point, because fuck it.
Okay.
Take yourself a juicy fate point. As the rustling in the leaves subsides, you see a crouched figure wearing simple robes step out from the sort of undergrowth, like next to you, so obviously been like following you, and you recognize your son, Nathaniel.
Gregory? What are you doing here?
He looks at you and he says, "Look, don't be angry, Father. I know you said that I shouldn't come with you, but that there's no way I could leave you to face the dangers of this island alone. After all, I've been here longer. I've gotten to know the people. You've only just arrived."
No, it's very easy to leave me alone. It's very easy. You have a wife? Go back to your wife. Go back right now. You turn around.
Look, and his voice is in a whisper, and he says, you have to strain to hear him over the noise of these two titans clashing beyond. He says, "Look, Father, you always taught me that if you believed in something, you had to stand up for it. How could I would be ashamed of myself if I let you go into this danger without at least trying to help, after you came all this way just to find me."
I also told you to listen to your goddamn father. Apparently you didn't do that bit.
He looks at you and he sort of smiles a little bit cheekily and he says, "Well, you know, I've never been very good at that bit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here, would I?"
Oh, neither would I.
You always told me, Father, blood is thicker than water.
Oh, you are in my Pierre book right now. I'm going to take him along with us.
Okay. So, at this point, those of you who are sneaking past, can I ask you all to make a pirate roll?
All right.
And then after you've done that, I'm going to make like a perception roll for the behemoths.
Do I get a bonus for going first?
No, not in this circumstance, no.
Oh,
geez, I think they'd be pretty engaged.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They've got to like make a ridiculous roll to like spot any of you. It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, you got a giant snake wrapped around your waist. You're not really looking for more troubles.
Okay, so at the moment, they will not be spotting any of you due to the fact, as you say, they are engaged with each other. If they hadn't been engaged with each other, they would have spotted both yourself, Pierre, and Nathaniel, and the captain as well. But if
they hadn't been engaged, I would not have enacted this plan.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Basically, what I've done, just to explain it there, is I've effectively given them like a -3 penalty to their roll. So
yeah, it makes sense.
Now
rather distracting.
One last thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask Nathaniel, can you please make a roll for Gregory?
Okie doke.
It's a +0 roll. Yep.
Gregory's really good at this.
Okay, not a problem. You're not exactly the stealthiest bunch as you move across, sort of skirting the edge of the clearing. Rot-Eye Jack and his men sort of follow you. However, given the noise that these two beasts are making as they try and like pummel and crush each other into submission, they don't even appear to notice you. As Pierre was rightly thinking, they're far too busy trying to crush and smash the life out of each other to worry about some rustling in the trees and things like that. So you make it all the way past them around the edge of the clearing, and you see this sunken entranceway. It's sort of like a square entrance built out of large slabs of stone that must once have been decorated with sort of gold leaf, but it's all flaked and crumbled off over the ages that this city has been here. You can see now that you're a bit closer, it seems to like head down into the earth as though it was once above ground, but it sort of collapsed as maybe the ground subsided or something similar. It looks very dark beyond the entrance. However, now you're closer, Nathaniel. If you wish, you can make a scribe roll to understand some of the hieroglyphs.
I am down for that. Hieroglyphs are my expertise.
I'm going to fish out maybe like a little lantern and hold it up so he can see them better.
Not a problem. You rummage in your pack, get your lantern out, and light that so you can see it a bit. Again, the beasts, nay bother. They're too busy with each other. That's absolutely fine.
Well, we're kind of in the tunnel now, like
that's it, exactly. You've moved sort of like a little bit inside the entrance. Certainly that if they were paying attention, looking directly at the door, they might, if they were lucky, notice a flickering light. But they're not paying attention to the door. They're paying attention to each other. They've no reason to look at the door. They're animals. So, no.
I'm hoping they kill each other outright. That's my hope.
Indeed. Okay, so what is your roll? Fantastic. Okay, so with your fantastic roll, you see that around the entrance, it looks as though it says, "Welcome to the city of La Fortuna."
I think it says, "Welcome to the city of La Fortuna."
One interesting thing you do notice is that through the hieroglyphs, although you're able to read them, they're quite badly sort of scratched, almost as though someone's like deliberately tried to like deface them, but they've not managed to do it entirely successfully. Like some bits of it, you have to sort of go, "Oh, I think this word means that," but like some bits of it are quite badly scratched. Almost as though someone had taken a chisel to the inscription, but it's a bit cruder and a bit more primitive than that.
That's strange. But then again, given this place, I'm not surprised. Maybe someone from before this time thought they'd try and erase everything to La Fortuna so people won't know it's here. Either way, we're here now. Let's keep looking.
Okay, no problems. You all make your way down this partially collapsed tunnel. There's a few bits where trickles of dirt sort of drop down from the ceiling, or like the odd few little stones fall down, and you hold your breath for a few moments, worried about the stability of the tunnel. But it seems to hold. You can see that Gregory looks quite nervous as you're sort of like heading into there. And as you're moving in, he whispers over at Gregory, says, Pierre.
I look at him.
He says, can you shine your light on that wall?
I'll hold it up.
As you hold it up, you can see, again, similar hieroglyphs, all sort of exalting the glories of the city of La Fortuna, effectively, but sort of daubed on them in what appears to be like a brown sort of flaky substance, as though sort of like a primitive graffiti has been used, or much cruder words, or there seems to be like a debased version of the same language, and there's a number of pictograms that you don't recognize, Nathaniel. Gregory says, I've seen these marks on the island before. The headhunters use them.
Are you sure that hieroglyphic doesn't seem right on the left side?
Headhunters.
Are
you sure they're headhunters?
I've seen them attack some of the villages. They're entirely savage. They barely even seem human.
Oh, those guys. All right. Maybe we should be more quiet. I say, I'm like, I have no idea how to deal with fucking savages. I'm like, maybe we can talk to them. I don't know.
And presumably,
kind of out of my depth.
Did you not hear what I just said?
Gregory nods.
They will not speak with you.
Yeah, so
let's do our best to just stay away from them then.
When I was traveling between the two villages when I first arrived on the island, I had the misfortune to encounter a small hunting party. I barely managed to escape with my life. If it hadn't been for several of the more friendly natives helping me out, I don't think I'd still be here now. I think Pierre's right. We should just try and avoid them at all costs.
I agree. Okay. Well, let's just keep going. And if we see them, we avoid them as best as we can. I say as I shrug to Pierre again, like I have no idea what I'm doing.
I'm going to lower the amount of light coming out of the lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm expecting that there's going to be a tunnel, or there's going to be light on the other side since it's day right now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, the tunnel you're in seems to be sort of like sloping downwards at about a sort of 35-degree angle, like fairly shallow, but it's definitely sloping downwards. You can see as you move from the sort of signs that it's obviously sort of collapsed into the ground, perhaps due to subsidence. After traveling for about sort of 50 feet down this passageway, it opens up into a larger chamber. Presumably you're at the front, Pierre, with your light, you sort of like your bullseye lantern. You like put the shutter down it a little bit to get a more focused beam. As you move into this entranceway and your light sort of plays across it, you see two golden statues at the far end of the chamber, where there's a single sort of entrance continuing beyond it. That one of the statues stands on either side of this stone entrance. They depict people in flowing robes wearing these strange shell-like masks over their face, and they appear to be, you're thinking, given that you reconstructed the larger statue that was shattered on the island, that perhaps these are sort of smaller versions depicting the same type of person. But as you look at them and you sort of move a little bit closer with your light, you can see that the statues appear to have been sort of daubed over with tar or pitch, something dark black. And where the masks are, a very crude representation of a skull that's been painted on them in chalk or something white. Almost as though someone's tried to sort of repaint the statues for another purpose.
It appears as if one culture does not like the other, or they are attempting to supersede the first one. These skulls, I turn to Gregory, this is consistent with these Ed Hunters?
Yes, from what I've managed to piece together from the natives, they worship some kind of death spirit or something like that. I don't really understand it. It's not very easy to find out, since they're not open to any sort of peaceful dialogue. I've only managed to piece together bits and pieces from the natives in my own village. As they're sort of saying this, Roland, you're looking at these statues and you feel like a little bit of a chill run down your spine as you look at these blackened statues with this white skull face, and they almost look a little bit familiar to you.
Can I tell if they've been damaged in some form by calling?
They don't appear to have been damaged. You sort of look at them. It just looks as though someone sort of taken the original statues and tried to like give them a new paint job, effectively.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do they look reminiscent of the crazy vision I had a few sessions ago?
Although they're not wearing a suit like the person you saw.
They're not smoking my cigars and drinking my drink either.
They're not smoking loads of cigars or drinking rum. However, as you look at them, you can see like this sort of solid black sort of body covered in this pitch and tar, and this pure white skull face. It does look a little similar.
I sort of Roland put his hand on Nathaniel's shoulder and he says as quietly as he can, "You really need to think very carefully about what you're about to do, Nathaniel."
What are you talking about?
This place has a vibe to it that I do not like.
Vibe? There is no vibe. The hunters have moved in here and claimed this place for themselves. They are attempting to remake it in the images that they find, they worship.
This may be a deal too far.
Look, we're here anyway. Let's just find a Philosopher's Stone and get out.
From behind you, you hear Rot-Eyed Jack say, "I agree with the bishop. What are we waiting for? The sooner we find the Philosopher's Stone, the sooner we can get out of this godforsaken place."
Then you lead.
He says, "Not a problem," and he walks around to the front.
Huh, he uses the same colloquialisms as John Large. Interesting.
Someone's at the same person. It's kind of weird.
He's just got a
I'll let
deep
him
voice.
lead.
Yep, not a problem. He walks around to the front, and his men sort of huddle up with him as they move around to the front. And given his lack of fear of death, he just starts striding across the chamber. As he moves a bit further into the chamber, he puts his foot down, and you hear like a.
I see anything that responds to that sound? Or corresponds with it?
You shine your light down on the floor, and you can see there are a number of bodies or parts of bodies and skeletons scattered over the floor of this chamber, and it appears as though Rot-Eye Jack's just like put his foot through the rib cage of one of these bodies.
Oh, great.
Is there anything that indicates what they died from?
You sort of play the light over a few of the bones, and you can see there's teeth marks on the bones. You can also see a couple of them have what look to be small puncture wounds, like you might get from an arrow, maybe.
Gotcha.
Quick question. How old are the bodies?
They're probably about no more than a few months old.
So those that were here recently, they were attacked by these headhunters. You can see ear and ear. Probably the darts. Then they dined upon the flesh right where they stand. You notice that the bodies are everywhere. The savages do not even congregate to eat their meal. They eat it right where they kill it.
Oh, really don't want that mental image, Pierre.
As you're saying this, you suddenly hear Gregory from behind you, sort of in a. Benman, he's kept his voice at a whisper, like all of you seems to like forget a bit about that, and he suddenly rushes forward and he goes, "Oh my god, it's the crew, the crew I came here with." And he moves over to one of the bodies, and you see him hold up what appears to be a small silver pocket watch on a chain, and he says, "I'd recognise this anywhere. The captain always kept it with him."
You say then local natives rescued you or helped you to escape?
Well, yes,
I see no signs of them.
Well, as I told you, when we arrived at the island, the captain was obsessed with finding the lost city and the gold, and I decided I wanted no part of it. So I parted ways with them, and they continued on to the centre of the island. I heard nothing more of them.
And this is your fate.
You notice Gregory's gone quite pale.
I'd gone up to him like, "Gregory, listen, you said you wanted to come. You're here now. I need you to stick together. I am also a little bit disgusted, but we have no time to waste on pleasantries and offers and any of that. We need to keep going. We will give these men a proper burial and a proper prayer if we're lucky on our way back. But for now, I'd rather not be eaten. Are you with me, Gregory?"
He speaks true.
You see, he looks as though he's trying to sort of like not concentrate on not being sick, but he's up with his hand over his mouth. He's like,
Good.
So have we moved past these statues now, John, and we're in another room?
No, you're still stood in the chamber. You've just come into the chamber. Rot-Eyed Jack's marching across the chamber towards the two statues and like the entrance between them. Then he's stopped halfway through the room. He stepped on this body and gone, and you guys have sort of like still stood at the entranceway to this chamber. You've shone the light down and seen the bodies. Gregory's rushed in, sort of like run to one of the bodies and gone, "Oh look, it's the crew." And then he's sort of like going,
Got it. So is it only the crew? Like, are there any other bodies?
It's you sort of like, you obviously know what a typical ship's crew looks like. You make a tally.
Well, I could probably tell by clothing, if nothing else.
There are other bodies here, but the other ones look a lot older. They're more skeletal. There's less of them left.
Oh, okay.
The bodies of the crew are like the freshest, for want of a better term. You see Rot-Eye Jack just sort of like shakes his boot, and this like body plops off the end of it. He shrugs and continues marching towards the exit from the chamber.
Horrific, but not unexpected entirely. It does not change anything. Let us be done with this nasty business. I'm going to follow, but I'm going to be careful not to step on any bodies.
Okay, no problem. You start picking your way across. Now, Pierre, can I ask you, please, since you're at the front of your group, can I ask you, please, to make a scribe roll for me? Or you can use Navigator if you prefer.
Sure.
This is to see if you notice something.
Yep. Not bad. Good.
Okay, as you're sort of moving across, and you notice this because you're being a bit more careful. Rot-Eye Jack doesn't appear to have noticed anything. He's just like storming straight across this chamber. I want to get that Philosopher's Stone. Nothing else matters. Plus, what's going to injure me? So he's just storming across the chamber, whereas you're being a bit more careful and a bit more circumspect. You notice a previously concealed figure, a small like form, crouched down just behind one of these statues, sort of hidden in an inky pool of shadow. As you spot them, you see them sort of like lift up what appears to be a reed pipe to their mouth, sort of aiming it towards the Vola. They don't seem to be aiming it at you.
I'll cry out a warning then.
Okay, no problem. Can you please? I'll say that's a create an advantage roll. So can you please?
Attention.
Can you please make me an officer roll, Rob?
Yes.
It's not very difficult. Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Look at that.
So you've got the advantage, Bishop Devola, of you've been warned.
Okay, good.
There's a free boost on that.
Am I aware of this as well, John? Or am I too far behind?
You're not aware of this. You're a bit far behind. Pierre's like a bit further ahead. Okay, so as you see this figure go.
What?
So now, Bishop Devola, I'm going to ask for you to make a roll to avoid that. So it's going to be a marine roll to see if you can like throw yourself aside.
Oh yeah, let's roll the skills I'm bad at today. Let's do it. Right, minus plus one. I have an advantage. Do I have an advantage?
You do have an advantage. You've got the boost of pre-warned.
Yeah, I can get myself to +3 and I'll tie, but that's it.
Okay, are you sticking with that roll?
I'm gonna stick with the tie, yeah.
Okay, in that case, can I ask you to also make me a +1 roll, Nathaniel? Okay, not a problem. So what happens is, Captain Howe, you feel something whiz past your ear as there's like a rush of air as this dart sort of past you, doesn't hit you. At the last minute, Nathaniel, you warned by Pierre, you like jerk your head to one side and you literally feel this thing move like almost like touch your ear with like the fur tip of this dart as it moves past, and you avoid it.
Where's his son?
His son stood directly behind him.
Does it hit his son?
No, don't give him ideas.
I'm just checking.
He would have said.
As you watch, Roland, as you've correctly surmised, you see the son, Gregory. He sort of like goes like that, almost as though like a gnat sort of like bit him on the neck or something.
Way to go, Matthew. I totally blame Matthew.
You see, he looks down at his hand, and you see like a dark sort of stain on his hand. Bishop Devola doesn't appear to have noticed it at the minute because he's like, "Oh, avoided that bad boy."
Good. I'm so good at dodging. Yeah.
But because you were looking back at the bishop, Captain Howe, you've sort of seen his son standing just behind him go, and then he's looking at his hand. You see his eyes go like wide, and as he sort of holds his hand like that, you can see this like dark patch on his hand.
Okay. So, do I have time? How close am I to him?
You were within like arm's reach. You were pretty like closely huddled up. You'd have to take like, a couple of paces to get to him.
Right. This is gonna be my challenge to save the sun. Right. I'm gonna grab his wrist as tight as I can.
Okay,
right,
no
to
problem.
restrict the blood flow, and I'm gonna. Okay, I'm gonna try. Can I see like?
I think he was hitting the neck.
Was it the neck? I thought it was the hand.
No, it was his neck. He went like that because he was like, "Oh shit!"
Right, okay, sorry.
And then he brought his hand down, and he was like, "Oh, that's my blood on my hand." Shit.
Okay, so I'm gonna put my hand around his neck, not squeeze as tight. And well, the idea is, is it possible for me to like, I don't know, as a wind caller, to sense like the movement of liquids, like the blood flow?
No.
Damn it.
You could possibly blag that if you're a watercolor, but not a wind caller.
Watercolor, maybe. Yeah, that's
You
really.
see what I was trying to do?
Yeah, it was a reaching roll.
It was. Oh well, he's dead then. Fair enough.
Well, he's dead. Let's move on.
You go around to him. You put your hand on his shoulder, and as you're sort of like Bishop Devola, you're like, "What the fuck's going on?" It's like Howe stepped past you and puts his hand on your son's shoulder, and you notice for the first time that like, your son's gone like deathly pale. He Gregory looks at you, Captain Ham, and he says, Captain, and his knees just go from underneath him.
I'll
He
catch
falls
him
to his knees.
if I can.
You catch him. You can see his face looks very pale, and he's starting to like shake a little bit, like a tremor running through his entire body. You can see like the dart mark now on his neck, and like a tiny trickle of blood that's run out of it.
I meet Nathaniel's eye, and say, everything has a cost, Nathaniel. I take this place.
I run up to Gregory, and I'm like, the first thing I do, of course, I see that he's panicking. Then the second thing I do is I look at the wound. I look at what's happening to him. Can I tell what's going on?
Okay, it doesn't take a lot to guess what's happened. Obviously, the dart that hit him, which he must have knocked out somewhere on the floor into the darkness when he went like that, it must have been poisoned or something similar due to the fact he's immediately gone pale and he's shaking. It's obviously a very virulent, sort of strong poison. You can see that like a cold, clammy sweat broke out on his face. His eyes are starting to glaze over a little bit, and he's like,
is he dying or is he just weakened? I'm not quite sure. That's what I'm trying to pick on that.
okay,
How can you know?
make me a shipwright roll.
All right. Where my son's concerned, I'm very good.
Okay.
In fact, I'm great.
You can tell that he's on his way out very quickly. This poison is like rushing through his system like faster than anything you've seen. You think that perhaps it's some sort of venom, which, considering you've just seen like a giant fucking snake outside, it's not a great leap to assume there's some like deadly ass venomous animals on this island. Perhaps the headhunters use the venom from the animals they kill or something similar.
Where did the dart come from?
It came from over near one of the statues.
I'm going towards one of the statues as fast as I can.
Okay, so I think it's fair to say that I'm probably closer to that. So when I spotted this guy and shouted the warning, how far away was he?
The guy is about 10 feet away from you, Pierre. You could literally step right in front of the statue and you'd be there.
Yep. So, do lunge.
Okay, not a problem. You sort of move round very quickly. As you're doing that, you can see that this sort of like small sort of like native, he's got his face painted white like the statues to like show like a stylized skull. He's wearing just like a loincloth and sort of like a simple belt. As you go around, you can see he's just in the process of like tucking his blowpipe back into this belt and pulling out some sort of flint knife. But he's literally just drawing it out, and then he's like, as he sees you come stepping around the statue, presumably drawing your rapier.
Oh yeah,
Not a problem. In fact, he's looking down at the knife, and as you go, shing, he's like, but you get to act before he does.
Yeah, I probably had it drawn a ways back. Okay, so.
Okay,
good.
Not a problem. I'll make his defense roll. Okay, I'm currently also on good.
All right. Well, I'm going to spend the fate point. I'll make that a 5.
Okay, not a problem. You can dispatch this lone headhunter. Feel free to narrate how you dispatch him with aplomb.
So I'm unaware of the drama going on behind me. So I just see a threat, and I'm already been alerted to these white-faced dudes. I see him with a dart gun. So I'm just thinking, these guys are being. So I'm just, as I said, as an experienced fencer, there's really no, I don't know, like picture to it. I just go straight for where I know his heart is, and just right into the heart. Like it'd be an almost instant death. That's the way I see it.
Not a problem. You see him like open his mouth, perhaps to like utter a curse or a war cry. But as you skewer him through the chest, the only sound that comes out is like a, and then he slides off the end of your blade and falls to the ground behind the statue. He twitches for a few moments and then lies still, blood pooling on the stone around him.
I'm going to search him to see if he has any more of these darts or possibly an antidote. I mean, they might accidentally stab themselves once in a while.
You search him and you find that he has 4 of these darts sort of tucked into his pouch. You can see that the darts, they have like almost like a piece of soft wood, like cork, sort of on the end of the darts, perhaps to stop them stabbing themselves with them as they're carrying them in their belts. But other than that, he just has his dagger, his blowpipe, and 4 of these darts.
Okay, well, I'm not an expert in it, but I know enough about poisons to know that an antidote, it helps if you have the source.
Oh yeah,
So I'm
definitely.
going to at least take those darts from him, and then I turn around and see Nathaniel approaching, I suppose. I don't
Not
know
a
what
problem.
Rotten Jack doing.
As you're taking the darts from him, you actually notice that sort of on the belt that he's wearing, there's some of these sort of ornamental like bracelets and hangings made out of gold and various coloured stones. A bit similar to the ones that the more peaceful natives were wearing, but they're far more crudely made. You expect perhaps they might have been sort of scavenged from bits and pieces in this complex.
Are they valuable?
Well, they're made out of gold.
Well, Pierre was feeling a little bit torn about doing anything blasphemous to this place, but robbing this guy? No, there's no guilt there. I'll take everything that I think can be sold for something that's worth carrying like this.
Not a problem. They're only held on by sort of like thin sort of twine, so you just like pull them off and stuff them into your bag. That's not a problem.
Yeah. There's going to group loot for the crew.
As you head over to the rest of your companions, you can see like, Bishop Devola's like cradling his son with like Roland stood next to him. You can see that Gregory's gone deathly pale. His voice is sort of no more than a whisper. There's a sheen of sweat on his face. Rotheye Jack stood there sort of like on the other side of the room. He's just at the exit from this chamber. He looks back and he's like, "We don't have time for this."
I ignore him. Maybe I'll flip him the finger first. I say, the villain has been dispatched. Oh. Is there anything we can do?
If this cup really does what it says it does, it could probably save him.
So I rush over to the guy, even though I know that Pierre's already looked him up. And I start like frantically tearing his clothes apart, desperately trying to find something, anything at all in my hands.
Okay,
like,
not
desperately.
He's like I say, he's pretty much got a belt like over his shoulder and like a loincloth. You tear those off him in a frenzy, but you don't really find anything else on him apart from like this knife that like Pierre left with him, this like crude flint knife with a bit of fur wrapped around the edge like a crude handle.
Yeah, I didn't take the dart tube either.
Yeah, and he's got a small blowpipe, which is a little more like a reed pipe.
Okay, so
I looked for the antidote. I only found these 4 darts.
That's useless. I can't do anything with that.
I
Okay.
am sorry, monsieur.
You hear a sort of a pained voice from Gregory just over the other side of the room, Nathaniel, and he's like, "Father, are you there, Father? I can't see you."
I rush back like desperately, flipping over myself as I do so.
As you run out to him, you see his eyes have gone to like a cloudy, almost sort of like misty white color, and you see sort of like he's reaching up with like his hand as if he's trying to sort of like work out where everyone is.
I take his hand like, "Gregory, I need you to stay still, very still. There's something running through your body. It's making things happen to you. I don't know why. Just calm down. Just calm down, Gregory. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'll think of something. Just hold still."
He sort of smart. He tries to smile, but it comes off as more as a pained grimace as you're sort of like supporting him with the help of Captain Howe, and he's like, I don't understand, Father. I've always tried to do what I thought the elemental lords wanted me to. You always said they had a plan for us.
They do. They have a plan. They have a plan. I need time. Just give me time. Just give me time, please. Someone, anyone, does anyone know what to do?
You see Rotheye Jack, you hear him sigh from across the room. Then he sort of flips his hand in your direction, and sort of from just near your foot, you hear a ding, ding, ding. As you look down, you see a small silver piece land next to your foot.
I look down at the coin, and I look down at Gregory. Then I look over at Rotheye Jack, and I weigh my options.
It's deal-making time.
Listen, Gregory. I need you to reach out and pick up this coin on the floor.
He sort of like reaches out with a hand and sort of like touches your face. He obviously can't see you anymore, and he's like, I don't understand, Father.
Shh. Don't think about it. Don't question it. Just do it. Just for me, please. Just reach out and take that coin. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just take the coin, Gregory. Just take the coin.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do, Nathaniel, is I'm going to ask you to make me a +1 roll, and this is just to see whether he sort of understands and he grabs the coin before the poison does its work.
Ah! Can I give him a bonus somehow?
If you can
Can I use my fate
justify
points
it,
on it?
if you can justify it, then yes.
Surely,
Well, I'm
surely,
guiding his hand towards it.
surely cursing your own son is a compel of blood is thicker than water.
Yeah, I would think.
If you can suggest, Lloyd, how this is going to, beyond the obvious, how this is going to present a sort of immediate complication, I'd be quite willing to go with the compel and give you a fate point.
Well, my son believes in elemental lords, and I just cursed him to become an undead zombie vampire.
And make him a thrall of the person who is inevitably going to turn on everyone.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. I'm kind of literally sacrificing him just to make him live.
It
Instead of
is
letting him die.
it is a big deal, but how does it complicate things for you?
He's my son. Not only that, Jack, what's called? Beforehand, what the hell is his name? Rot-Eye Jack had nothing on me. Like, he'll be like, well, I'm going to do this. I have nothing to do about it.
John,
if you have my son
I
under
can
his
think of
control,
exactly why it complicates matters.
Go on then, Roland. Break it down.
Because now, if Nathaniel lets us kill Rot-Eye Jack at any point, then the curse is lifted from his son, and the son will die.
Have a fate point, Lloyd.
Yay! Fucking points are coming up all day, every day.
He has to protect Rot-Eye Jack to protect his son.
Okay, see, you pretty much have to like guide your son's hand to this coin, and he takes hold of it, and he sort of lifts it up. As he does, you hear the soft laughter of Rot-Eye Jack echoing across the chamber. And as Gregory's hand closes around this silver piece, you notice the skin starts to like shrink onto his bones. His eyes clear. You hear him, he sort of sits bolt upright and takes a sharp intake of breath. His skin, like I say, sort of shrinking around his bones until he looks almost like a skeleton shrouded in a thin coating of flesh rather than the vibrant, lively boy that you raised and that you came all this way to find. He lifts up his own hands, still holding this coin. He looks horrified. And then he looks at you in a stronger voice, but with this strange sort of burbling noise in the background, like he's talking underwater. He looks across at you sort of wide-eyed, and he's like, Father, what have you done?
Now, don't be mad. I did what I had to do to save you.
You can see he's sort of like he's looking at like his own sort of like withered, like skeletal arms. He looks horrified. He's sort of like patting himself all over, and he's like,
"It's only temporary. I'll get rid of it in a minute. It's gonna keep you alive for now. All right? Just calm down. We can all talk about this. It'll be fine."
He says, but Father, if I was going to die, I would have been with the elemental lords. I don't even know what I am now.
You're nothing bad. It's fine. We'll find a way to cure you. It'll be fine. We're gonna find a stone. Everything will be fine. Just trust me, okay? Look, I just need you to not panic and just trust me this one time, please.
As you're saying that, you hear footsteps sort of like approaching from behind you as Rot-Eye Jack walks across the chamber to stand like directly behind you, Bishop Devola. He puts a hand gently on your shoulder, Nathaniel. He leans around you and says to your son, "Welcome to my crew." At which point, like, Gregory's eyes are literally like bulging out of his head. He's like,
I don't say anything, and I sort of just slowly get up and I look at Rot-Eye Jack and go, "Can we just continue now, please?"
I thought you'd never ask. Very well. I've sent my two men to scout the area beyond this. They tell me that it comes out on the side of a ravine. It looks as though there's some sort of recess or crevice beyond this place, as though the ground has fallen away. At least it's in the open air, though.
I just want to go.
Very well, then. Follow me. And Rot-Eye Jackson turns on his heel and walks back, stomps across the chamber, not caring about the fact he's like crushing bones and not stepping on bodies as he walks. And he heads through the exit to the chamber between the two statues.
I'm not going to catch anyone's eye when I start walking forwards. I'm just going to keep my head low. But like my face is darkened. I'm both disgusted with myself and I'm like super set. So I'm just like focused and looking at Rot-Eye Jack's back. And I'm just walking on.
As Nathaniel walks forward, Captain Howe, and he's got this like super serious, like tinged with anger sort of expression on his face. It's a look you've seen on his face before in a dream.
Yeah, I was already there, John. I was already there. I look that we all may come to regret.
Gregory sort of stood up and he's just sort of like stumbling along after you, still like looking at himself like horrified, but sort of following along because he looks like he's in some sort of shock.
So, having witnessed this, Pierre is internally, of course, reevaluating things. He's now convinced that Nathaniel has kind of gone over the edge. Like, he's crazy. He's willing to do anything and justify it for any reason he feels is worthwhile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start trying to keep a mental tally of approximately the worth I'm carrying as I pick up these bits of gold and stuff. Once I think I have enough that I can, do right by the crew, I'm gone.
Okay.
I'm just leaving.
Not a problem. In which case, what I'll do is, when you've reached that amount, I will just let you know, Rob. That's not a problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so are you guys following Rot-Eye Jack and his men sort of through the exit out of this chamber between the two golden statues?
Yep.
Aye.
Okay, as you head down this sort of small tunnel, you can see golden sunlight at the end of it. And as you step out, as Rot-Eye Jack had said, having sent his men ahead to scout it, you see that it emerges into the open sunlight on the edge of a very deep ravine. You can see what appears to be a crudely made rope bridge heading over the ravine to the other side, where it looks as though this sort of city, this sunken city, continues as though the ground had split apart in a great ravine, separating two halves of the city, and someone had tried to bridge the gap. Rot-Eye Jack and his men immediately sort of move onto the rope bridge. As they step onto it, it sways quite dangerously in the wind, but they sort of grab hold of the ropes and continue sort of making their way across it.
Well, I'm going to have to do likewise, but I'll wait until they're across so they don't add to the swaying, and then I'll start across.
Okay, as they move across, you suddenly hear a and you see one of these darts like stick in the neck of one of Rot-Eye Jack's men. He doesn't even like slow down, he's just like ugh, and carries on like moving across the bridge, sort of following the trajectory. Pierre, you can see at the far end of the bridge where there's like foliage and this sort of opening to a further part of the city. Crouched in the foliage are what appeared to be maybe half a dozen of these savages holding these blowpipes.
So Rot-Eye Jack and his men, I mean, they are unharmed by these darts, but in my experience, they still don't like being attacked. If nothing else, the dart might hurt a little.
They
like,
certainly,
did they respond at all? Like, did
you notice they've actually like quickened their pace, but it's not less a case of like, oh shit, I've been poisoned. It's more a case of that was irritating. I'm going to get across this bridge and like give you a good scene too.
Yeah, well, I've changed my mind. I'm going to just wait. I'll wait. I'll let them fight it out for a while.
Okay, not a problem. They continue moving across the bridge. As they move across the bridge, one of the Rot-Eye Jack's men who's sort of at the back puts his foot on a rotting board, which drops out from underneath him. You hear a as he tumbles down into the ravine. Rot-Eye Jack sort of looks down as this like guy like disappears, sort of like Wile E. Coyote off a cliff, styling a little puff of smoke at the bottom. You hear him chuckle slightly, and he just carries on moving with his remaining man.
I will continue to observe. I'll wait until one side has, gotten the other to zero, and then I'll proceed.
Okay, not a problem. They get to the other side of the bridge. You see these savage headhunters sort of firing darts into them. You see like Rot-Eyed Jack and his man are like start slapping them off and looking very irritated. And then you hear the sh of two swords being drawn. And there's what amounts to a few minutes of clashing weapons and loud screaming. You watch as one of the savages leaps towards Rot-Eyed Jack, sort of lifting an obsidian knife above its head. And Rot-Eyed Jack actually brings his hand round and just sort of like cuffs him on the side of the head, sending him like flying into this ravine, almost just like casually just like backhands him into this chasm. There's a clash of weapons for a few more minutes, and you see all of the savages appear to have been killed. And Rot-Eyed Jack and his remaining man just sort of pick up their bodies and not get ready to like heave them into the ravine.
It seems that bringing them along was not completely a waste of time. Now I will proceed across.
Okay, you start making your way across. As you do, you see like as you step onto the bridge, and there's like as you move onto it, you see Rot-Eyed Jack sort of turns around, and you notice for a few moments his eyes like flicker down to the rope supports of the bridge.
As I'm walking, I'm going to be kind of doing like, sort of wrapping my wrist around the rope as I can. So if it should go, at least I'll be hanging onto it, sort of thing.
Okay, not a problem. You see Jack sort of staring at these ropes as though he's pondering something, but he doesn't actually take any action, and you make it to like his side of the bridge.
Okay, so I'm just going to look around for additional dangers while I wait for my resting companions to cross.
Okay, not a problem. You look around. Make me a navigator roll. Okay, you can't see any obvious signs of danger around here. However, as you're sort of stood near the entrance to the rest of this sunken city with Rot-Eyed Jack and his remaining man, if you strain your ears, you can just hear the faint sound of like drumming coming from somewhere deep within the complex.
So what do I see on this side?
On this side, you can see luscious foliage stretching off into the jungle. It goes up in a slight rise, which was where the savages were perched, and sort of set into the side of this small hill is the remnants of what must have been the second part of the corridor you just walked down, and it looks as though the rest of the sunken city sort of continues down into this hill.
Okay, no large piles of cash and easy to carry sacks then?
You can actually see that whilst he was pondering perhaps like chopping the rope bridge, you might assume that Rot-Eyed Jack's not actually thrown like the remaining three of these savages into the ravine. You can actually see they're wearing like the gold bangles and coloured stones.
Oh, excellent. So I'm going to loot the bodies without remorse. And again, I'm going to keep an eye out for an antidote, a hunk of root, I don't know, some berries. I don't know what form it might take. So anything that might be a possible antidote, just in case.
Okay, they don't appear to have any sort of potential antidote, but as you're sort of mentally calculating up the amount of like gold you've like stripped from these natives, you reckon you've got a pretty reasonable stash accumulated now.
Enough that if I'm going to distribute this to the crew, and I want them all to feel they don't have to be rich, but they got to be, this has to feel kind of worth it. This is enough. You know what I mean?
You think that if you added this to the hunks of gold you've like already recovered from the statue, pretty much you've got enough gold on board that ship now that even divided however you see fit, pretty much everyone on board that boat, as long as you get back, is going to live like a fucking king when you get back.
Excellent. Okay, so when the captain crosses, I'm assuming he crosses the rope bridge.
I was going to say, if order is important, I'll be coming last across the bridge. I'll be keeping.
Okay, so Nathaniel, you go next. Okay, you start moving across the bridge. It creaks ominously as you do so. You have to step over the missing plank where Rot-Eyed Jack's man fell through it. The wind is starting to get up a little bit, and it's starting to sway a little sort of stomach churningly as you move across it.
Awesome. I'm less bothered by that, more about the fact my son is behind me coming along, and
Yeah,
I just make my way over.
You can see he's walking across and he's holding onto the ropes, perhaps more to steady himself due to his state of shock rather than the actual swaying of the bridge. But he's very, very sort of slowly sort of making his way across. He's got this sort of blank expression on his face, as though he's, like I say, he's in some kind of shock. He doesn't really comprehend what's going on.
I just need to hold on a little bit longer. Just a little. We're almost there. We're almost there. And I'll just keep going.
It's too late. It's already too late. Don't you realize that?
Okay, so can I ask you, please, to make me a navigator roll, Nathaniel?
Okie doke. What's the difficulty?
The difficulty, you will need a good roll.
I got a fair. I'll spend a fate point. Wait, no. Nothing I have will apply for this. Nothing I have will apply for this stat-wise. I'm an academic. Blood is thicker than water. High fed bitch. Yeah, I have nothing to spend fate points on. I'm gonna take that roll as it is.
I will say, if you wish, in this circumstance, I'll explain why in a bit. If you wish to spend a fate point to use blood is thicker than water, since you've got your son behind you potentially able to help you.
Oh, good point. You're right. Okay, I'll use that.
Also, if he falls, I mean, that's going to be worse on the sun.
Okay.
True.
You put your feet on one of these rotten boards and it just cracks and gives way beneath you. You fall down and your fall is arrested as like Gregory literally like throws himself forward, grabs hold of your arm. You're like hanging above this massively deep ravine. You can see far below you. You can just about make out where like Rot-Eye Jack's fallen man just like got smashed to pieces. He's like a puddle on the distant floor of this far miles deep ravine. Captain Howe, as you're sort of last, you see Gregory like throw himself forward as Nathaniel disappears through this crack in the bridge. He reaches out with his hand,
Nice.
grabs hold of Nathaniel by his arm, but of course he's not anchored to anything himself, and you can see like Gregory's like, as he's lying down, he's like sliding forward towards the hole, being pulled down by the weight of his father.
And I'm like, how?
Yeah,
So
you hear that.
I think you all know what I'm going to do, but let's go with it. Can I use my super magical, useful, and incredibly convenient right now wind calling to lift them up to safety?
Okay, you can do. However, I will tell you now, for the sake of like, transparency,
Yeah.
if you fail this roll, because you're manipulating the winds, and bear in mind it's the winds that are rocking this bridge about.
Okay.
If you don't do very well at this roll, you may actually make things worse.
All right, try a different tact. Can I use wind calling on myself to make my footsteps lighter so I can get across that bridge safely and quickly to help them?
Yeah, that's fine. In fact, I'll say you don't need a roll for that because you just use it's just a minor effect to get you to where they are. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so you sort of create like a cushion of air under your feet, and you sort of quite nimbly sort of run across the bridge to where you can see like Gregory like sliding forwards, like holding on for grim death to his father's arm. You see his feet. He's trying to sort of like dig his feet into the bridge, but they're just his shoes are just like sliding slowly along, like. As you see, his like upper half's already like disappeared through the hole. It's just his legs still on the bridge.
I'm gonna grab.
You can feel yourself slipping, Nathaniel. You're sort of getting lower down as your son's slipping. What are you going to do?
Is Captain Howe there too?
Yeah, he's literally just sort of like ran across the bridge to where they are. What are you going to do, Captain Howe?
I'm gonna grab him by the ankles and haul him up.
Okay, not a problem. This is going to be a marine roll since it's based on like physical strength, etc.
Thank God.
And
I mean, that's great.
I will tell you, since you're trying to pull. Okay, I'll tell you, since you're trying to pull two like entire people up and support yourself, you're going to need a great roll to do this.
Okay, no problem.
It's good, but it's not great.
I'm going to use a fate point. Can I use my high concept in this situation since I can brace myself slightly, since I am not actually taking up that much weight on the bridge to like haul them up to a +2.
That's absolutely fine. You can use your high concept.
Yeah.
Okay. So that takes you up to a superb roll. So supported as you are by the winds that you've summoned around you, describe how you heroically haul your two companions back up onto your side of the bridge.
So yeah, you hear me running across the bridge, and like you can't hear my footsteps, but you hear like a keening, like you hear the wind that's moving the bridge, and you can sort of hear like a high pitched whine of where my footsteps would be, as it's the wind sort of cushioning my footsteps. So as I get there, and I just grab Gregory by his like ankles, and his skin just feels weird and like wet and clammy, and it's kind of like almost sliding off the bone, and it sort of slides to these ankles, and then I sort of brace myself. You can hear the keening of the wind of my feet getting louder and louder, and I sort of haul back and lift him up, and then I sort of get to where Gregory's stomach is, and I sort of throw him across the rest of the bridge, about 10 feet or so.
Okay, so from where you are, Nathaniel, you're suddenly like hauled back up, like from almost certain doom. Gregory's still holding onto your arm. You see Captain House holding onto Gregory's ankles, like hoik him up, and then he throws the two of you onto the other side of this gap. And you land, sort of both of you sort of like land on the other side of the bridge.
Just about. I look first. I look at Gregory. He's okay. Gregory's alright. I'm like, oh good. And I sort of get up and go, Roland, how are you alright?
So I'm sort of stood there, slightly elevated off the bridge as I swear that I'm fine.
You can see a few more with the sort of struggle. A couple more of the boards have toppled away. There's now like a more considerable gap between where you are, Captain Howe, and where like the rest of them are on the other side.
I'm gonna
make it across.
Carefully. The bridge.
All right, we'll get off the bridge for you. I sort of like help Gregory up, and I take him across the bridge.
Okay, Nathaniel, as you're sort of helping Gregory up on the bridge, you're sort of looking back in the direction you came, sort of seeing how Captain Howe's going to get across. Obviously, Captain Howe's looking towards you. You see what appear to be a number of sort of ragged, savage-looking figures with skulls painted on their faces coming out of the entrance towards the bridge where you've just came out of. So obviously they've come in through the front of the complex, and they're like following your trail. You see one of them go,
How? Behind you!
Okay, make me a create advantage roll, please, Nathaniel. It's based upon your officer, yeah. Okay, you in fact you have the aspect where you have the advantage of warned by Nathaniel, and you actually have 2 free invokes of it.
I'm gonna haul ass across this bridge.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask you to make a fucking roll to avoid all of the darts that are coming towards you. I'm just going to make 1 roll for them. You make 1 dodge roll. We'll see where things go from there. So it's going to be a marine roll if you just try to like dodge and avoid it.
It's going to be a tough range too, because you're most of the way across.
Yeah.
I think you'll be fine. I think you got this.
Okay, not a problem. There's this hail of like these darts whiz past you. Now, with your wind calling and your speed, etc., you are easily able to dodge them, Roland, and make it across the gap, perhaps using your wind calling.
Yeah.
Would you care to describe how you dramatically dodge these darts and make it over the bridge?
So I'm hop-footing it as the floorboards of this bridge are falling, like ducking and diving. You could sort of see like there's a slight air current going around my like skin and the back of my head. So you can sort of, as the darts get close, they sort of just are redirected around me ever so slightly. So they're sort of pinging off left and right. As I sort of tuck and roll as I get like to the edge of the bridge and jump.
Yeah, so as he runs, Nathaniel, you see this sort of like strange sort of shimmering air current around that seems to like deflect the darts. And as he leaps across this now like quite substantial gap in the rope bridge, this sort of current of air sort of gathers beneath him and seems to like springboard him into the air. And he lands on the side that you're on as it drops and rolls as he lands probably about 5 foot away from you.
Oh, that was impressive. And then I'm gonna run. Fucking no time to waste.
John,
okay.
Just ask me, like I just this is a mechanic thing quickly. So if this is a strong wind current in here right now, right?
Yep.
Is it possible for a wind caller to call upon like a strong wind, naturally occurring wind? Can I use that to do something like boost up my wind calling?
Effectively, you could say, "Oh, there's an aspect of strong wind," and you could use that if you want to spend a fate point, or you could roll to create an advantage based on that.
Okay. So, what may I
Could he
do?
take an existing strong wind and then boost it?
Well, yeah, that's effectively what he'd be doing with the with his roll. Yeah.
What I want to do when I pick myself up off the ground, I'd like to spin round, and because I'm guessing they're all lined up, right?
Well, you can see they're actually sort of like starting to like head towards the bridge. They're like drawing their knives now, no doubt, like planning to come and like shiv you up as they get across the bridge. The first couple of them have just stepped onto this rope bridge. They look a little bit wary, obviously having seen large bits of it have collapsed.
So the idea is, I like the wind to rise up like a wave and just yank them into the ravine.
Okay, not a problem. That's
There's
effectively
already a strong current there. I just need to like control it a little bit.
Okay, so that's effectively an attack. So it'll be based on your marine score. So it'll be an attack against their defense, but you could spend fate points to use the strong wind, or you could roll to create an advantage beforehand, however you want to do it.
I'm gonna roll to create an advantage because I'm gonna like sort of draw up the wind. It's not my personal like power; it's the wind.
Now, I will tell you, if you're rolling to create an advantage, because obviously it's going to take you a bit of time to like gather the wind.
Okay.
That will basically allow them to get sort of like halfway across the bridge because they're running. If you just do it straight away, you'll get them like just as they step onto the bridge. It's
okay, I'll do it straight away then. I'd want to get them on the edge before they even get on the bridge because I don't want to destroy the bridge.
Okay, not a problem. So they run out. The first few of them have sort of like made it onto the bridge. They're a bit wary. They're testing their footing. Then they start screaming in this archaic sort of babble and start running towards you, waving these knives. The first couple are on the bridge. Make your attack roll.
Just a marine.
Yep. Okay, make their defense roll.
I'm gonna spend Jesus Christ! I'm gonna spend
that fate point.
I'm gonna spend that fate point. My high concept.
Hey, does my one by Nathaniel still kick in?
Yeah, you could also use the free. Well, you could actually just use the 2 free boosts. From
damn right, I'm gonna use those 2 free folks.
Okay.
I got you, bro. I got you.
In which case, since you're more aware of where their positioning is, thanks to the fact that like Nathaniel warned you in advance, you've basically got a bit of extra time to like get your shit together, pretty much. So you can quite happily fling them all into the ravine using your wind calling. How does that go down?
So yeah, basically, it looks like a kind of weird from their end because what they see is they see me just turn around, stand up, and sort of like just stare at them directly like a 1,000-yard stare, and I just start flicking my finger left and right as I'm concentrating, and just as my finger moves, you sort of can see the wind. You can sort of see the trees and the leaves sort of slightly tilt, and then you just see one of these guys go, and then they start like arcing over the edge.
And that is exactly what happens. You hear the cries of these headhunters fading and trailing off into nothingness as one, by the winds, they're flung off their previously safe ground into the ravine and they disappear from sight down below.
And afterwards, just sort of to himself, not really speaking to others, he sort of closes his hand. He's like, usually it's not that easy. This place is weird. Yeah, thank you.
I give him a look of, I don't care, we're running, and I'm still running out of the bridge as fast as I can.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to pan the camera across now to Pierre and Rot-Eye Jack. Pierre, you've stolen all the tap from the savages, the dead savages on your side. You can see
I'm waiting.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You can finish.
I was just going to say, you can see that Rot-Eye Jack and his man are obviously getting ready to like continue into this sunken city.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm preparing to have a powwow with my teammates or shipmates.
Okay, not a problem. Rot-Eye Jack and his remaining man disappear into this sort of sunken stronghold, temple, whatever it is. You watch as how Gregory and Nathaniel make it to your side of the bridge.
Very nicely done. I was worried there for a moment. I need to speak to both of you.
Could it wait?
No, I cannot, monsieur.
The savages on the other side of that bridge, they're coming.
No, they have all been dispatched. No, it cannot wait.
All right, go.
I am leaving. For you, Captain, I urge you to think of the crew. The crew agreed to two things: to find his son, not actually part of the original agreement, but they agreed to that additionally, and to get us to this island that they may all gain wealth that they well deserve. We have accomplished both those things. To continue on further, to risk the lives of all the crew and their just due reward for the sake of Rata Jack? No, it is not worth it. I have upon me enough wealth to make all the crew rich and to fulfill the obligation that we gave to them. It is my intention to go back there now with this gold. And you, Nathaniel, I turn on him. You, monsieur, I thought you were a man of peace, a man who wished to help people.
I am.
But now I see you are, no, monsieur, you are blinded. You're obsessed. You continue to make deals with devils without considering the cost, even when that cost brings risk to the lives of others. You do not even ask their permission first. You merely commit them to it. No,
I don't
monsieur,
need
you are
to
obsessed.
stand here and listen to you talk crap to me.
You are very well, but you are dangerous, monsieur. You are dangerous, not just to me, but to the rest of the crew.
As they're arguing, Captain Howe, you hear you're sort of stood next to like Gregory watching the two of them go at it, and you hear, they don't seem to have heard it, but you hear a quiet voice from Gregory go, I can't feel my heartbeat.
Could you a few minutes ago?
You can see he's sort of like, he's like checking his like on chest and like his neck, and he's like looking like progressively more like terrified. He's basically like checking his pulse and stuff like that, and he's like,
have you even told your son of the commitment you made to him, the agreement you made on his behalf, without even asking him again? Have you told him of the
I don't need to stand here and listen to you talk this crap in front of my son. If you're leaving, then leave. I don't need you to stay either.
No. I will not let you endanger me or the crew any longer. I am sorry,
Well, you're done then.
Wish you luck on your venture, but I am done. Good luck, Captain Nathaniel. I'm going to turn and head back.
not a problem. You turn, you head across the rope bridge. Given that Captain Howe has sort of like died the winds off as he dealt and sort of diverted him as he dealt with those foolish natives, you have no trouble like crossing it. You have to edge your way around using the ropes to get over the gap, but you're an agile sort. You manage that.
Go with my good graces, PM. We will see each other again.
I go a little angry that I could not convince them, and angry that they continue on this, I don't know, foolhardy plan when they should be thinking about the crew and the welfare of the ship instead of putting just a few over the many. But I continue on.
Okay, you watch as he gets to the other side, Pierre sort of like stalks back into the dark entrance beyond, disappears from your sight. You hear his footfalls for a few moments longer, and then silence envelops the area.
I look at Roland like, we don't need him anyway. It's fine. We'll find out Stone. Everything will be fine. We don't need him. I start stomping off after the other guys, like slightly mad.
Okay. Given that they've had a bit of time to get in there, as you start sort of moving into the rest of this sunken citadel, you can hear the sound of weapons clashing and shouting up ahead of you, about sort of like 80 foot down this sort of tunnel, which may have once
is the
been a
sound of
street.
drums still going as well?
The sound of drums is still going, but it appears to have got faster. The rhythms a lot heavier. It's a lot more sort of violent, I suppose, would be the best way of describing it. It's almost said that originally it's just like dun, dun, dun. Now it's like boom, 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 boom. What do you do, guys?
I'm gonna keep walking because I'm still mad at Pierre. So I'm like, how dare he talk to me that way? Who does he think he is anyway? I won't take advice from stupid lawfoot brats. And I'm gonna keep going because that's what running through my head at the moment. I'm just like, I'm just mad at him. He's just mad at me for no reason. I don't get what his problem is. I'll solve everything. Okay,
so Captain Howe, as probably the clearest headed person here at the minute, you see Nathaniel like stalking off into this sunken temple after Rot-eyed Jack. Gregory's still sort of like stood next towards you, sort of like looking like equal parts bewildered and like horrified. You see him look. You notice he looks up and he glances at the sort of like the edge of the ravine.
Not a good idea, son. Not a good idea. For what it's worth, Nathaniel's risked a lot to find you and save you. Perhaps too much. But now we're here.
Okay, can you please make me an officer roll, Captain?
Yes, I can. I'm feeling, fairly officer today.
Okay, Gregory. So he shakes his head a little bit as though to clear his thoughts, and he nods and says, "Yes, sorry." Yeah. And he starts sort of like slowly, sort of like shuffling his way further into this like sunken citadel after his father.
I sort of say over the ravine myself, plus I don't think you'd die if you fell. Just hurt a hell of a lot. And I'll follow on behind.
Red-eyed Jack guys die when he fell.
To be fair, he may not be entirely dead, but when you're reduced to like the consistency of like tomato ketchup, there's not really much you can do.
Yeah.
So now, Nathaniel, having sort of headed down a bit ahead of them, you step out into this large chamber. There's another one of these graffitied and sort of reskinned golden statues, and that's been daubed with black tar and had the white skull painted on it. There's what looks like it must have once been a beautiful altar, but it's had sort of like these horrible pictograms depicting sacrifice and bloodletting scratched into it. As you walk in, you can see one of these savages, although he's wearing what appears like a tattered robe that maybe he like scavenged from here, and he's wearing what appears to be a skull on top of his head. He stood behind this altar. You can see there's about 18 or so of these headhunters in the room. As you're watching, you see Red-eyed Jack and his remaining man are sort of fighting a small group of them backwards and forwards. They're trying to push their way towards this altar. And as you walk in, you see this headhunter priest, or perhaps shaman would be a better term. And he's holding a dagger in one hand, and in the other he's holding what appears to be this huge crimson gemstone. And next to him is a small native with a sort of a drum in front of him with like a tanned leather skin on top of it, it's probably best not to think about where that came from. But you can see he's almost like in a frenzy, just like hammering on this drum as this priest's holding up this stone in one hand and this knife in the other. There's a trench dug in the floor of this chamber, sort of around the altar, almost like a small moat, but it's not very deep. You can see in it appears to be water, or perhaps blood, or perhaps both. It's difficult to tell at the distance you're at.
Okay, so I don't know what this guy's doing, but if he's got a dagger like this and it's holding a Philosopher like that, something bad is about to happen. So I have to keep that guy's attention as much as I can. So I'm going to start talking in part of the tongue that I've picked up to try and get his attention and get him to like basically look at me as I approach the throne.
Okay,
because I'm still like super furious.
Okay, make me an officer roll.
All right, let's start with that. Oh, God.
Okay, you've certainly got his attention. What do you say to him in his own tongue?
You who dares to hold the stone in your hand, who dares to stand there and defy me, Nathaniel de la Vola, who has come with the blessed elemental lords, speak your name before I slay you and everyone around you.
He turns towards you, and in a sort of broken version of the language you're speaking, like a sort of debased, primitive, half-forgotten version of it, he turns towards you and he says, "You are not worthy to know my name, you who follow false gods."
As I keep going forward, I go, "The gods are what turned you to this place. The gods you follow have nothing upon mine. Do you know what I have suffered to come here? Far more than you will ever dream or imagine in your primitive time. Do you think your stupid men can stop me after everything I've sacrificed to come to this moment? Put down the weapon and face me like a man."
He says, "We shall see. kill the prophet of the false gods. At which point, like, one of these groups of headhunters, like holding knives, like charges towards you, Nathaniel.
All right,
Captain Howe, as you're just sort of stepping out into this chamber with Gregory sort of like next to you, still sort of like stumbling along as though he's in a daze. And you enter just as he goes, kill the prophet of the false gods. Like I say, you can see there's like approximately like 3 groups of these headhunters in the room, each with about 6 men in. One group is fighting Rot-eyed Jack. Another one is now sort of, one group's protecting this shaman. The other is charging towards Nathaniel with these obsidian daggers held high and murder in their eyes.
I'm going to get all up in there and get in the way because Nathaniel is not a fighter.
That's so true.
Okay, not a problem. Well, you guys are going to get to go first because they've obviously got to cover some distance to get to you. So what do you do, Captain Howe?
Can I see the stone?
You can see beyond them, the shaman's holding it up. He's surrounded by another group of these headhunters.
If I want to like do 2 things in the middle of a combat, is that possible? I'm not sure.
You would normally only be able to do one thing per round.
Okay, and for the moment, I'm going to get in front of Nathaniel and basically try and protect him.
Okay, not a problem. So as these natives reach you, you sort of step in front of Nathaniel, shielding them. So I'm going to ask you to make me a marine roll for your defense as they sort of get level with you and stuff. There's like, say, 6 of them, and they're all sort of having at you with these knives.
It'd be really good to... Well, it could have been a lot worse.
They're beating you by 2. However, I'm going to spend a fate point because they are savage headhunters to up that by 2. So I'm currently beating you by 4.
Oh dear.
I believe in you.
Okay, so I have a stunt that lets me use my pistol twice once per session, twice in a combat.
I'll go bang bang.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Does that mean I have to make an additional combat roll, or does it just give me like a +2?
Effectively, I'd say you for like, at one point you could make 2 attacks in the same round. Obviously, it's not going to help you in terms of like your defense and taking this damage.
Okay.
But feasibly after that, you could then be like,
right. Okay.
If you survive.
Exactly. I was thinking.
I believe in you.
Well, I was thinking in a sense, would I have opportunity to thin the herd before they got to me? That's what I was thinking.
Not really, because you were busy sort of like getting in front of like Nathaniel and making sure you were the obvious target. If you were just sort of like, if you're going to let like Nathaniel take it, just pop round him and be like, poof, you probably could have done, but you sort of like stepped yourself forward and were like, no, fight me. And they're like, all right.
I currently don't have any aspects in that case that are relevant, so I can't add any +2s. So
okay, in which case you take 4 stress.
4 stress. Which I haven't taken stress in ages. I'm going to take a consequence, aren't I?
Okay, so what sort of are you taking a mild consequence?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to call it?
Nasty gash, something like that. Nasty.
Okay, no problem. I'll take the free invoke on that. Okay, so literally, Nathaniel, as you see these natives running towards you, suddenly with a swirl of his coat, Howe is in front of you, like from nowhere. He's just like in front of you, and you see these natives just literally like leap on him and start like cutting through his coat. You see like a huge cut open up on his face, like blood sprays out of it as they're just frenziedly like hacking at him with these obsidian knives.
Okay, so I'm not very good at fighting, but I'm very good at steadying. I have seen these guys fight Jack's men. The way they fight, the savagery they come in, can I use that to give myself an advantage to basically steady the way that I steady how wild they are? So I know that no matter what happens, I know they charge aggressively all the time. So can I try to give myself a creative advantage on that, using that?
Yeah, I think that's fine. What sort of profession are you suggesting for this?
Professional what?
What profession are you suggesting rolling to create this advantage?
I'm suggesting scribe.
That's fine.
If I can make the roll. Yes. Okay. Oh, that's good. 4.
What do you want to call this advantage?
It's called, I always call it steadied fighting style because it basically works with a stunt I have.
Okay, not a problem. So you've got a free invoke of that. Okay, so that's your action for this round. Now we'll come on to Captain Howe, because you've not taken an action yourself yet.
I'll mute myself. So yeah, I'm going to take this opportunity to use my stunt to try and thin this herd of angry, crazy savages.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to make 2 attack rolls. I'm going to make 1 defense roll for them, and we'll apply that against 2 attack rolls.
Let's do this. It's still Marine, yeah? Okay. Come on. Be good. Okay.
Okay, currently I'm beating you.
You are?
Yeah, on both of them.
Oh, but right. Okay, yeah. I'll spend a fate point to use the aspect of renowned waterman naval officer brace pistols.
Okay, so you're upping your +3 by 2. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, not a problem.
So that's the best way to do it in this situation.
So at the minute, you've put 1 stress on them. So as you sort of lean out, you basically like, and your shot catches one of the savages in the chest and sort of flings him several feet backwards. He hits the ground and lies still. However, the vast majority of them, sort of 5 of them, are still sort of hacking at you with these knives. Then we come on to their turn. So if you would like to make me a defense roll, please, Captain Howe.
Oh, just so you know, I've stepped sort of side by side Captain Howe, so in case there's some of them attacking, they can attack me too.
Okay.
This would be, oh Jesus, this would be Navigator in this sense, yeah?
You can use Marine if you want to defend.
I will absolutely use Marine if that is an option.
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh,
Okay,
thank God.
You're currently losing.
Yeah,
I was getting so excited.
The dream was happening. The dream died in that second.
You're currently losing by 1.
Again, I don't really have an aspect that's applicable in this situation.
Okay. In which case, I'm going to spend another fate point to up my total by 2, since they are savage headhunters. So you'll be taking 3 stress.
Right, okay.
In fact, no, I'm not going to use a fate point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my free invoke of your consequence. So you'll still be taking 3 stress.
Okay, I'm on 3 stress.
Okay.
I'm in dire straits.
It's your go, Captain Howe.
Okay, so I've got 5 of them on me.
Mm-hmm.
How's Nathaniel doing?
He stood next to you. They mainly seem to be focusing their attacks on you, although I will start alternating them now. You're like stood level.
Okay.
He looks all right at the minute.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a bit of wind calling magic-y to try and knock a few of them back if I can. To give me.
I'd say that's probably a create advantage roll.
Okay.
Okay, so make your roll.
Will this be Marine as well? Because I'm sort of physically moving them back.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so you've got a free invoke of the advantage knocked back as they're basically pushed back from you. They'll still spring an attack in their turn, but you've got that free invoke. Right. They're not sort of all over you, like stabbing you like they were previously.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your go. So now it's Nathaniel.
Is the way for me to the guy with the big sword, the big dagger, clear?
You could possibly make a run for it. You would have to sort of get. He's got another like group of these natives, if you remember me saying, like sort of around the altar protecting him. You could potentially, if you make a decent enough roll, get around these guys who are attacking you and make a break for it. But obviously, you've got to deal with like his bodyguard when you get there.
I'll make a break for it.
Okay, not a problem. In which case, can you please make me a navigator roll?
I got a 2. What do I need?
Okay, you needed to beat my roll since I got a -2. You certainly have done. So you sort of like watch as Hal sort of like conjures the winds and pushes them back a bit. Seizing your opportunity, you jink to the left and sort of break into a run as fast as your old legs will carry you and start charging across the chamber towards the altar. You can see there's another like half dozen of these natives around the altar as this priest is sort of stood up, sort of chanting. The chanting is like a nonsense babble. It doesn't make any sense to you at all. It's all broken tongue about summoning death spirits and the power of death and casting non-believers from this place. Where you are, how you see as you've pushed these guys back. Nathaniel sort of breaks into a run and starts charging across the chamber. You don't really have time to do anything else, though, as these natives jump to their feet and again sort of have at you with renewed fury. So if you would care to make me a defense roll, please. I'm currently beating you by 2.
I'm going to use my free invoke.
Okay.
Fucking skin of your teeth at the moment.
I am.
Jesus.
Not a problem, due to the fact that they're set a bit back by the winds whirling around you, and perhaps you see a glint of sort of superstitious fear in their eyes. You're able to jump backwards. The winds are helping push you backwards, just out of range of their obsidian blades. However, as you're charging across the room, Nathaniel, you see the shaman who's obviously spotted you. He raises his dagger and points it at you and screams something, and you see his bodyguard start running towards you, no doubt hoping to head you off before you get to their shaman.
All right. So I draw my training sword, which isn't a very good sword, but it's a sword and nothing else. And I'm like, I really hope he taught me something good.
Okay. You basically, you can get to make the move first because they're running towards you. You can see them coming, obviously. So what do you want to do?
Right. I am not very fast, so I have to rely on being cunning. I've studied their style. I know what they're doing. I'm basically gonna.
Now, since you are indeed too old for this shit, I'm going to offer you a fate point. Where basically, if you concede to them making an attack against you first, because you're too old to like react in time, you can have a fate point.
I'll take that.
Okay, not a problem. So if you'd like to make me a defense roll, please.
Well, as long as I have the aspect studied fighting style, I get to use scribe instead of marine when I fight people.
Absolutely fine.
Which is not gonna matter because I rolled fucking 3 zeros. Fuck!
I'm beating you by 6.
I'm gonna use that fate point you just gave me to reroll that because that was
Okay.
pretty bad.
Okay,
That is
not a
much
problem.
better.
You have drawn with me. So,
Do I
basically,
want to draw?
do you want to draw or do you want to use something else on it?
Fuck it, I got fate points to burn. Let's use one. I've got so many fate points to burn. Let's use one.
What
Yeah,
aspect
I'll
are you
beat them by
using?
2. I'll beat them by 2. I'll use it on blood is thicker than water. I need that philosopher's stone.
Okay, not a problem. You beat them by 2. Sort of describe how your character manages to avoid them as like they swarm around you with their daggers.
Right, they're all coming towards me, right? They're rushing, but I know that they rush. So as I drop the sword, I go, what am I doing? I can't move fast on these people. And as they're charging towards me, I duck below them, and they come right over the top of me, and I sort of like shoulder barge through their legs as fast as I can on my hands and knees, and then I crawl back up again on the other side.
And indeed, that's what happens. You're pretty much at the foot of this altar now. There's only the shaman and the drummer on the altar. However, his guards are sort of like gathering their wits, and they're obviously not going to be unsure about where you've gone to. You've just barged past them. So you will potentially still have to deal with them. However, before that happens, we'll go to Captain Howe. Captain Howe, what are you doing? You're still surrounded by this flailing horde of these headhunters. You're starting to feel the sort of like the pain of your injuries now.
I will unmute myself first, and then I'm going to try and run one of them through it if I can.
Okay.
Because I'm sort of locked in the battle for my very survival.
Make your marine roll.
I believe in you.
But
Although you might need to roll a little bit better than that. Holy shit.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna spend a fate point to reroll.
What aspect are you using?
I'm gonna. This is gonna be a stretch.
you're running
I'm
a
gonna
pup,
use my
please don't
trouble
do it.
hunted by the Church of the Four Elements that
Mate.
I'm used to being hunted. I'm used to being outnumbered and fighting against.
Okay, guess for it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's
Make
not
your
worth
reroll.
it. It's not worth it, bro.
I gotta try. I gotta try and survive.
It's
I'm gonna
not
be
worth
unconscious
it.
soon.
Don't do it.
Okay, so I'm only beating you by 3 now.
I guess I'm gonna have to take that because I can't use any other aspects in this current time.
Okay,
This
so
is not going well.
take 3 stress. Let me know if you take any consequences.
Oh God. You only have one mild consequence, don't you, in normal fate?
Yep.
Because of Dresden, you get two in some situations. Yeah, I'm going to take a moderate.
Okay, what moderate consequence are you taking?
Basically, I've been run through, like one of the blades has gone right through me.
Okay, run through, not a problem. Okay, so as you're sort of you just reach the edge of the altar, you just like where this sort of small sort of like moat is, Nathaniel, you hear a scream from behind you, and risking a glance over your shoulder, you see Captain Howe as he's trying to dodge these blades, and one of these like sort of serrated obsidian daggers just goes straight through his shoulder, so into his chest. You hear him like cry out in pain. I've got to be honest with you, Nathaniel. Captain Howe's not looking too clever at the minute. You see he's covered in blood. There's cuts all over him.
All right, so here comes the big boy play. So bear with me. I'm looking at the
about
shaman.
to make a deal?
I'm about to make a deal. Get ready. It's happening. I got up there. I can speak to him now. I look up at the shaman. I've been around here for a while, so I've remembered La Fortuna for a while. And I go, the land of this place once worshipped the sacred god, the one that you worshipped. If he ever had his shamans challenged upon the foot of the altar, I don't add to the death to that because I'm like, let's not push it too far. If they're on the foot of the altar, they must face themselves. Call off your men, and you and I shall have a battle right here and right now for the Philosopher's Stone, as is your way. Or be shunned by the god that you worship and destroyed and desecrated like the people who lived here before.
You hear a sort of rasping chuckle from beneath like the skull mask he's wearing, and then his broken barbaric tongue, he looks at you and then says, "Tell your men to fall back first."
I take a deep breath.
I'll fall over if you want, because I'm pretty much there.
And I go, "Men, fall back! I'll settle this myself."
You hear Rot-Eye Jack in the corner go, "Fuck that."
Rot-Eye Jack, if you wish to use the stone to save yourself, now would be the time to do it. Do not defy me again.
Okay, make an officer roll.
Oh, yeah. Come on, Lloyd. Positive. What the fuck is that negative doing there? Oh, my God.
You're currently drawing with me.
Oh, let's spend the fate point that I so needed. Fuck. I will spend it hard enough. I can never go to high seas. He has to listen to me. This is serious business.
Okay, you see him sort of nod. He punches one of the natives in the face just to like get him off him, then gestures for his men, and they both start falling back towards the entrance to the chamber. The natives sort of look as though they're about ready to spring to go after them, and their shaman shouts, "Hold!" And they stand there still with their knives out, but they don't go any further towards them. Captain Howe, what are you doing? You've heard Nathaniel shout. For a moment, the knives have stopped stabbing. You see the natives are still there, sort of like ready to run you through again, basically, but they're sort of halted in front of you, sort of waving these knives about. What are you doing now?
As they sort of back off for a second, I sort of lean against one of the pillars, blood gaping from my multiple wounds by this point. As they back off, and I know they're not going to attack for a second, I sort of take a step back and I start like reloading my guns and like examining my own wounds.
You see one of the natives in front of you is like his face has been like splattered with your blood. It's the one who like ran you through it. He goes,
Yeah.
Lovely.
Like licks the blood off his finger, and you see him sort of lick his lips. They're all looking at you like hungrily.
Roland's too distracted by his own wounds for momentarily to see what Nathaniel's doing. I assume Gregory's quite close to me though. He was with me last.
Yeah, but basically he's sort of like helping to like hold you up at the minute. Okay. So you step forward, presumably, Nathaniel. You see this shaman. He like takes off this tattered cape. He hands the stone to the drummer who's next to him, who stops drumming and like cradles the stone to his chest. Then the shaman steps forward. He holds his hand out, and you see like strange ripples start to form in the water in the small trench around the altar.
Oh, great. Just great. What have I got myself into again?
And this is where the camera zooms out we see the island below us, and it zooms back in on the ship. Pierre, you've reached the ship with fairly little incident. However, as you're leaving, you actually see that the great ape that was fighting outside the complex is lying there dead. Its rib cage sort of half crushed. Obviously, the snake sort of like killed it and slithered off.
I'm beelining for the ship, best possible speed.
Okay, not a problem.
But I'm not going to do that blind to danger.
Yeah, not a problem. You face relatively little opposition, and you make it back to your vessel. As you sort of take the longboat out and get back to the vessel, the crew help you on board. They look at you and they're like, "Quartermaster, you all right? What's going on?"
Well, I have the good news and the bad news. The good news is that you're all wealthy. I show them rings, I show them pockets.
They all like cheer as you start busting out the treasures that you've taken.
This will be shared amongst the crew upon our return to the civilization.
A couple of them start like chanting your name, and like, loads of them are like patting you on the back, and they're like, "We knew you wouldn't steer us wrong, Quartermaster."
However, I am not so sure we will see Nathaniel or the captain again. They have gone to face a danger that I fear has little chance of success. This entire island is dangerous. We will give them a short amount of time, but I wish to be prepared to set sail at any moment.
You don't have to tell the crew twice. As soon as you're like, we've got the booty, let's get ready to get out of here, they're like scurrying around the deck, like getting the sails ready, getting the ropes ready, etc. You see the Sawbones, the doctor of the ship. He stands next to you, he looks up at you and he says, "How long do we give him, Quartermaster?"
That is a good question. We will give him a little while, or until a danger presents itself to the ship.
He looks at you and you see his eyes narrow a bit and he goes, don't get me wrong, Quartermaster. I've got the greatest respect for the captain. After all, he got us here like he said he would. But we've got the gold.
I understand. We owe it to them to give them some time. But
yeah,
I am not willing to whisk the crew for the one man.
Oh, yeah. And I know you wouldn't steer us wrong, Quartermaster. Like I say, all the crew knew that you'd see us through this and you make sure we came out of it with the riches you promised us. But all I'm saying is if I've got to like speak to the crew and we've got to like sell them on the fact we're waiting here despite the fact we're all going to be rich, I'm just asking how long I can tell them. Because if they come up to me and I'm like, well, I don't know, we're just going to give them a bit of time. You know, it's
one day, perhaps two, no more. Or as the first sign of real danger to the ship, we are gone, eh?
All right, well, I'll pass the word amongst the crew, Quartermaster. I don't think they're going to like it, but, well, you've not steered us wrong, so...
Tell them that a few more days to a lifetime of wealth and fancy life is not much to pay, eh? Besides, how much work is there to do while we are waiting?
That's true, yeah. It's going to be at least a day until we could set sail anyway, so... Maybe if I sort of play it up, you know, we need to do a few like extra preparations just to make sure we survive the trip back. Maybe I can stretch it out a bit like that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to put the booty, or at least the lion's share of it, in maybe a locked safe, locked chest somewhere in my room, something like that. Some secure location where we keep that. And then I'm going to go back on deck and I'm going to be spending most of my hours sitting on deck, watching, looking for signs of the captain or Nathaniel or danger.
Okay, and as you look overboard, the camera follows Pierre's view as he lifts his hand to his eye and looks through his spyglass. The camera zooms, snaking through the trees, over the body of the fallen ape-like behemoth, through this sunken catacombs, across the rickety rope bridge, and back into this chamber where Nathaniel stands facing this shaman who's holding his hand out. You see the ripples in the water sort of at your feet. Then as he raises his hand up, what almost looks like a tentacle or tendril composed of this bloody water zooms out of the trench and lashes out towards you. Nathaniel. Would you like to make
Okay, I didn't see that coming. That's gonna suck.
Would you like to make me a defense roll?
I would like to try.
Okay.
That'll be Marine, I take it?
Yep.
Oh god, 2.
Okay, I'm spending a fate point since I am a debased water caller.
I think that's perfectly fair. I will spend a fate. No, I cannot spend a fate point. Nothing I have will apply to this.
Okay, so I'm currently beating you by 3. You will take 3 stress as this sort of tendril of semi-solidified gore and water just like smacks into you and knocks you off your feet.
I will take that 3 stress and cry about it as I hit the ground.
Okay. As you're watching Captain House or being held up by Gregory, you feel the familiar sort of like tremor run through you that you recognize as one of the signs of someone using storm calling, and you watch as this like tendril of water just like rises up out of this trench, slaps into Nathaniel, sort of throwing him halfway across the chamber. The shaman steps forward and he's like, "You dare to challenge me, false prophet?" And he sort of takes a few steps forwards with his hand like clenched.
Can I go?
Yeah. I take it I'm surrounded as well at this point.
Pretty much there's like all of these natives that were previously stabbing you are sort of between you and Nathaniel.
Mm-hmm.
It looks as though they're just waiting the word to like take you out.
All right, so I slowly rise from the floor and I go, I do dare. I have dared since the moment I left my home to come after my son. I have dared since I made the deal with One-Eyed Jack to find La Fortuna, and I have dared to walk forward. Do you know who I am? I am Daniel de Volia, the greatest bishop of the Emerald Lords, and you are nothing to me. And I pop my once per session.
Okay, describe what occurs.
My once per session is because only the gods forgive. When I declare my full name and title of an act of God, mercy called a detrimental act to a person, place, thing, or choice, I basically give them I give them the aspect only the gods forgive with 3 tags.
Okay, not a problem. So would you?
And this is basically showing that the gods are on my side.
Describe how this manifestation occurs.
So when I rise up and I'm looking pissed off and I've got all that stuff, he's used water calling around the area, right?
Yep.
He sort of like when he drains the water up and he puts it forward, he drains along with it the blood as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when it washes down, it washes into his eyes.
Yep, not a problem. You hear him like let out a cry and he like staggers back, sort of squinting, trying to shake his head and clear his eyes.
At
What
which
is
point,
Right Jack doing, by the way?
Right, Jack still sort of stood there. You see him keep sort of going like that, looking like he's getting ready to go forward. But obviously, you didn't really hear what Nathaniel shouted at him because you were like wrestling a load of natives. But whatever like Nathaniel said seems to be like keeping him in check. He's sort of straining. He's like, "Oh, just get in there and like give him some." But he's holding his ground for the moment.
so at which point I fucking charge him with like my fucking hands, like fucking grabbing him as hard as I can. Because like I'm like, I can't fight. Trying to use a sword is not gonna help me. It helped me beforehand. I'm just gonna charge him.
Okay.
And like tumble with him down the stairs.
Make your marine roll.
All right. So does my steady fighting style still count for the shaman?
No.
Okay, so let's do this. Oh god, that was terrible. Should I reroll that? That's -2. He got a fair. Oh, I don't. Oh wait, I can reroll. I've got 3 tags on him. Now let's save it. I'll go for the failure.
Okay, not a problem. You charge towards him with sort of like your hands out, trying to like grapple him effectively. He shakes his eyes clear and sort of dodges to one side as you charge a little bit past him. You can see him sort of like clenching his hands again. Again, he sort of brings his hands up and this tendril of water, another one, bursts out of the trench and sort of zooms towards you. Make your defense roll.
All right, let's do it. I am rolling terribly today. I'm going to spend one of my free tags to reroll that. Oh, God. What is happening to my dice? I should take the hit.
Okay.
I'll spend one of my fate points to tie.
Okay, not a problem. This tendril sort of grabs hold of you, so it's like wrapped around you, but it's not actually caused you any damage at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of see it coming and you breathe out, so it doesn't just sort of crush you. You're sort of like resisting it effectively at the moment, but it is wrapped around you.
Excellent. While it's wrapped around me, I can't move, so I'm gonna reach back in front of me, grab something from my bag, like a book or something, anything. I'm gonna chuck it at its head.
Not a problem. Make your marine roll.
These minuses are killing me.
You're drawing at the moment.
I will spend one of my own fate points to make that a +3.
Okay, not a problem. Your book sort of smashes him in the side of the head. He staggers to one side, and instantly the tendril that's holding you just goes psh, as it becomes normal water and like hits the floor. You see he's sort of staggered back. He's obviously taken some damage from that, but he's picking himself up, sort of like his eyes clearing as he like locks eyes with you again. While this is going on, Captain Howe, what are you doing?
Howe is currently nursing his wounds, trying to find an angle that he can help Nathaniel with, really. He's sort of surrounded. Right, Jack's across the room. Gregory's near him. Are these guys carrying any of those darts? The poisonous darts?
You notice a couple of them do appear to have darts on their belts, so obviously they're using their knives at the moment.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, if I use wind calling, will this shaman detect it? Is it a two-way thing?
It's a high likelihood, much as you realised he was using storm calling,
okay.
he will realise you are.
Okay. I'll try and patch myself up if I can. If I can reduce some of the reduce the bleeding or something while I got a moment.
Okay, not from you start trying to patch yourself up. It's not really going to do a lot in the current circumstances, but yeah, you're sort of trying to staunch the blood flow as much as you can.
Roland's main issue right now is if he interferes, he may break whatever thing Nathaniel's done, and he'll be cut to ribbons.
You can always encourage me, though. That's always helpful.
Could I give him advice? Would I know what the weakness of a watercaller is? Would I be able to give him an advantage?
Yeah, you could roll to create an advantage. That's fine.
I'll try. Would that be an officer role in this situation? Yeah, just checking. Okay.
Okay, yeah, you have a free invoke from Roland. As Roland, you think Roland, as you're about to shout over to him, that if he can draw the shaman away from this trench of water, it'll be more difficult for him to use his water calling because he's just pulling water out of this trench. Yeah. So what do you shout across to him?
I try and say it in a way that doesn't make it obvious. Drawing from the wellspring of his power, Nathaniel. Try and use a high. Like I'm quoting scripture at him.
Okay, you hear Nathaniel shout, draw him from the wellspring of his power, Nathaniel.
I go, what from his power? The water! He's right. All right, so...
However, I'm going to forfeit my action this round, because as Captain Howe shouts that, the priest sort of takes his gaze off you for a few moments, Nathaniel, and he goes, kill them all!
Oh, crap! As he does that, I'm gonna basically charge him and drag him away. I'm gonna try and bull rush him away from the water as hard as I can.
Okay, make your marine roll.
Actually, can I interrupt him as he's about to say that?
Yeah.
Because I reckon if I can catch him in his breath, if I catch him on time, he won't be able to say it in time.
Okay, in which case, make your attack roll. It'll be against my defense roll. If you win, he doesn't manage to get out his speech as you sort of bull rush into him, slam your elbow into his neck or something.
All right, let's do this. Come on, no minuses, Lloyd. What'd you get? Let's support him. 3.
+3.
All right, so I'll spend 1 for getting away from his wellspring. Mm-hmm. No, because that's not the same thing. I was gonna play for that. I'll spend 1 for what's called hardened academic for my own fate point pool.
Yeah.
That'll make me tie, and I'll spend 1 more of his Only the Gods Forgive.
Okay, not a problem. So where you are, Captain, you see as you shout your advice, you see the shaman sort of open his mouth as though to Christ, and then Nathaniel's elbow slams into his throat as he basically headlocks him and starts wrestling him away from the
Get over here
trench.
Ooh.
Okay, and since he forfeited his go to like start doing that shout, it's your go again, Nathaniel.
Okay, so there won't happen to be a handy ravine nearby by any chance, but
Well, there's one back out the entrance, but you would have to like drag him a bit of a distance to get him there.
yeah, I'm not gonna make it that far. So I'm gonna drag him up the stairs like as hard as I can, and basically just try and slam him on the ground and try and just knock him out, just desperately trying to stop him from doing things.
Okay, that's a marine roll.
Oh my God, Lloyd, what is with these rolls today?
I'm currently beating you by 2.
I will spend one more on my fate points,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll spend one more on his, or what's called, on the drag him away from his wellspring of power.
Okay, not a problem. So, how much are you beating me by?
I'm beating you by 2.
Okay, not a problem. You drag him to the steps and basically like smash his head into these steps. He lets out a cry, and you see some of his teeth fly out as you pretty much like curb stomp him. Pretty much, he's still moving, but he's not looking quite as defiant as he once did.
Oh, good.
I will tell you just for the sake of you knowing that like all of his stress has like now been eliminated. Okay, so Captain Howe, you've seen all this going on. You watch as Nathaniel with a sort of ferocity and sort of calm, steely resolve and sort of violent flair that you've only seen him demonstrate once in a dream. He pretty much drags this guy up these stairs and like smashes his face into these stairs. You see like blood spray out of this guy's mouth, some of the flecks of it like hitting Nathaniel's face. There's a look of almost like cruel anger on his face. What's going through your mind at this point, Nathaniel?
He must die. 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 And there's a tiny voice in the back of my mind that's like screaming at me, trying to be like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" But I'm mostly ignoring it because I'm in the middle of this slapping his head down.
Okay, so as you're looking at him, Captain Howe, you can see that sort of like written all over his face. He obviously clearly wants to like murder this guy. It's not a look you're used to seeing on the normally calm bishop's face.
Roland just stopped thinking as he looks at him, sort of out of breath and surrounded by savages and evil dead pirates. Is that am I preventing this terrible fight I saw, or am I making it happen?
As you're sort of looking around and you're thinking this, how you see that like Rot-Eyed Jack has put one of his like hands inside like his coat.
What is it, like his gun? Like, do I know is that his gun belt? Can I tell that? Because I've seen him moving around.
He's not wearing like a gun belt, but he's basically, if you imagine like his coat sort of split down the middle, he's just sort of like put his hand inside his coat.
Okay. All right.
Okay, then we zoom back over to Nathaniel. Right, this guy is just going to try and sort of like he's desperately clawing at you with his hands now. All sort of the pain seems to have driven all thoughts of like storm calling out of his head, and he's just trying to grapple you back and sort of like beat you around the side of the head, pretty much.
Let's do it.
Okay. Make your defense roll.
Come on, Lloyd. No minus. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to spend my last fate point to re-roll that.
Oh, fuck. Please, more minuses. Please, I need it. No, that's not a minus. It's terrible.
I'm currently beating you by 2.
I'm not out of fate points yet. I still have one more, what's called Under God's Forgive on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to spend that to tie with him.
Okay, so basically he's broken out of your headlock, but as he's doing so, you spring backwards, and he's not. He's swinging his fists at you. He's not able to actually land the blow, and you perhaps the pain of his injuries, because half his face is mashed up. His fists swing a few inches from your face, and you sway backwards, almost like a boxer, dodging his blows. What are you doing, Nathaniel?
Okay, so my act was basically as I'm swinging back, I'm gonna grab the blade on the ground. So hear me out here. I'm gonna grab it on the ground. I'm gonna lift it like I'm gonna cut him. I'm gonna lift up my hand. I'm gonna stop myself, and so I'll just see his desperate he I see on his face for a moment. I hold my blade up. I look down at myself. I look up at him. I look down at myself again, and I sort of for a second, I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
Okay, if
And then for a moment,
if that's your entire action for the round, I will give you a fate point for that.
that is my exception. For a moment, I just pause and go, what am I doing? I can't do this. I have to stop myself. And I'm done.
Okay, as you're doing that, you're still holding the dagger up. He's effectively going to try and grab hold of your hand and like, push the dagger into you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Since you're using his ceremonial dagger, I'm going to use his stunt.
Do it. What does it do?
It basically allows him to, when he's using his ceremonial dagger, he can roll his scribe to attack instead of...
Ooh, that's really good. I like that. Now just roll off failures. That'd be great.
Okay, I'm on plus 4.
Okay. Can I beat that? I can tie, which is better than nothing. Because I can spend 1 fate point on Hardened Academic and 1 on Blood Stick on Water to tie. I have the fate points to burn for that. Just thanks to that. I'll do that. I'll tie.
Okay, not a problem. He grabs the knife and turns it around, but instead of going into your shoulder, the knife sort of sticks in the fabric of your like thick robes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're both sort of like holding onto this knife, and he's trying to bear down on you, but you can feel it, the flat of it sort of pressing against your skin, but it's not actually cut into you.
Oh, okay.
What do you do?
Okay, so with my realization and the fact that things are going bad and I'm there, I have to try and find some, like, fuck, I hate to say this to myself so much, but Pierre's right. I'm losing it. If I don't gain some kind of control, I'm not going to be able to do this. So I sort of see him in there with the arm on, and I sort of grab him, and I lean forward, and then for the love of God, I try this. I go, you're smarter than the rest of them, and you clearly know what you're doing. You're not a savage. Do you really want this to end like this? Let's stop, and let's make a deal about this right now. I'm going to try and convince him to make a deal with me during this battle.
Okay, right. This is going to be an officer role, and I'm going to say that just due to like the circumstances going on, you're going to need some like seriously like epic role to like pull this off. Because he's like, oh, I've nearly got you on the ropes, I've nearly stabbed you, and you're like, hey,
it would be kind to kill him.
Well, it kind of depends on the deal you come out with, like what concessions are you willing to offer?
How
right?
good does it have to be?
You need an epic roll, which is a +7.
Oh, I can't get that high. No way.
Okay, not a problem. So he just like hisses his hatred at you and tries to push this knife down into you further.
I was like, whoop, I tried!
Make a defense roll. I'm on +4.
I am on minus everything. Oh, I'm on +1. I can take the hit.
So okay, so you take 3 stress.
All right, I will take my first mild consequence
Okay,
on cut in the arm.
I'm still able to do something, right, John? Like, I'm still...
Yeah, you literally watch as they're wrestling backwards and forwards.
Okay.
Then you hear Nathaniel's like cry of pain as you see this knife slowly pushed into his shoulder.
So, okay, so in this battle scene we've got here, right? There's like mess and stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Correct. There's swords. There's bits of wood. There's like water everywhere, right?
Yep.
I've had time to look around. Is there any chance any of these poisonous, deadly darts are lying around on the floor?
There's some of them lying around. Certainly, like the guy you originally shot is lying on the ground. He's got some. So,
is it possible for me to like, say I sort of cause a distraction? Say I like fall, so I start sliding down this pillar because I am genuinely injured. I just want to use there's just a whisper of wind calling just to move this harmless dart. Just to like, so when this guy's like reaching up to like stab at Nathaniel, the dart just happens to land just underneath him, and he's not wearing a lot. All it would take for him to fall down on it, and
so you're going to try and like wind call, like flick one of these darts into it, effectively. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an attack roll, so it would be a marine.
Just a tiny little flicker of it.
It would still be against his defense roll, because obviously they're moving about. So,
for God's sake.
Okay, currently withdrawing, so you wouldn't do any damage, but you could potentially give Nathaniel a boost.
I would like to use one of my remaining fate points, if possible.
Do it.
captain of the High Wind. He's one of my crew. I got to look after my crew, and despite what he's done, I think I can still save him.
Okay, not a problem. As you're sort of being pushed down by this shaman overbearing you, using his weight to push the dagger further into you, Nathaniel, you look around like for some help, and as you look over, your eyes briefly lock with Captain Howe. You see him sort of hold his hand out towards the native that he shot in the chest earlier. You see him sort of going like that, sort of like gesturing upwards, and you watch as one of these small darts is like tugged by a little gust of air out of the belt. Then you see Captain Howe go, I make a flicking gesture. The dart zips across the room and heads towards the shaman, sticking in his thigh. You see he looks down, and like a look of like panic comes over his face as like immediately he goes pale and starts to shake.
I look at him. Oh, now it's having a deal. I go, I can save you. I can save you right now. Swear allegiance to me with all your people, and I will save you.
Okay, make me another officer roll. You're still going to need a fairly high result for that.
Come on, guys! I need to work this one time.
He makes deals with
one time, guys. What the fuck is this? What do I need?
You would need a +6.
I can get to +6 if I spend 2 of my fate points. I have that many left over because I never spent them.
Okay, so what aspects are you using?
I will use hardened academic. And I'm too old for this. I was too old for this 20 years ago. I cannot fight this guy anymore. I am fucking bleeding out. I am terrified. I want it to end.
Okay, so just reprise. You've succeeded. Just reprise what you're saying to this guy.
I look down and I go, I can save you right here, right now. All I have to do is ask my men to do something to you, and we can save you. All you need to do is swear allegiance to me and all your people to me, and make me your new shaman, the new world of the Philosopher's Stone, and I will grant you your life back. But it's up to you. You should know you only have a minute to decide.
You see, he sort of pulls to his feet, and you see a look of like realization dawning on his face. He gives a slight nod, and he opens his mouth to speak. Then there's a and his head snaps to one side as that part of his face explodes sideways. How you glance upwards and you see Rot-Eye Jack stood there having pulled a pistol out of his coat, the end smoking as he's just basically like blown half the face off this shaman guy. At which point, obviously, the rest of the headhunters go absolutely ballistic and renew their attacks. You can see that like Rot-Eye Jack and his guys start like hacking their way through there. You see a like gleam of sort of like greed and lust on Rot-Eye Jack's skeletal face. There's no doubt in your mind that he's going to make a run for that stone and the drummer that's holding it once he's dealt with these fools. And when I say dealt with them, he's pretty much just like throwing them out of the way. However, as you look back, you see these natives leaping towards you with these knives.
Oh, Gregory, help him!
Okay. Gregory sort of stumbles forward a bit. How? What are you doing?
So, how many of these things are coming at me right now?
There's 5 of the natives sort of leaping towards you still, the ones that were looking at you. I'm going to give you 1 free invoke to represent the fact that Gregory's trying to help you. He's not really a fighter, but he might get in the way of some blows, which in his current state isn't a problem for him. So you've got 1 free invoke to represent Gregory's help.
Right.
I believe
this is not how I expected the day to go.
It's going good. We're doing great. I mean, I didn't fully turn to evil yet. We're doing good. I'm only partially there.
Rot-Eye Jack is fighting some dudes, right?
He's pretty much leaving his guy to like fight with these dudes. He's pretty much, rather like Nathaniel did, he's like bull rushed his way through, and he's now like sprinting towards this altar where there's just the drummer holding the stone.
Where's Nathaniel at this point?
Nathaniel's about the same distance away from the altar as Rot-Eye Jack, because I see that he's been wrestling with this guy like across the chamber. You can see the shaman has like fallen to the floor, half his face blown off. He's dead and out of it.
Okay. So, right. So that what I'm going to do, not what you'd expect. I'm going to use my wind calling. I can see the stone right from where I am.
Yeah, you see the drummer's like holding it to his chest.
I'm going to bring it to Gregory if I can.
Okay, I'm going to do that as an attack roll against the defense of the guy to represent the fact he's obviously trying to keep hold of it.
Right.
So make your attack roll.
This is still Marine.
You're drawing at the minute, which means you wouldn't get it to him, but you could give him a boost. You could give Nathaniel a boost.
Don't I get a free invoke from Gregory? Oh, is that not count in this situation?
No, that's just to help you like defend against
Right.
these guys who are trying to stab you. You can't really help with your wind calling.
So I need to get +2 from somewhere.
Have you got any fate points left?
I do.
But we need them because we're about to fight right now.
I kind of need that for what I'm going to do later.
Save it. I'll grab the stone. I'll try. I've got a few fate points left. I don't know if I can make it through, but I'll try.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it. Not this stage. So I'm going to shout to Nathaniel, get the stone, and I'm going to try and draw Gregory to the entrance to this chamber. If I can.
Okay, that's not a problem. Can you make me a defense roll? Because I see you being attacked by these natives.
Okay.
Hang in there.
I need to roll good. I'm going to draw with them by using the free invoke that Gregory gives me.
Okay, not a problem. You desperately like parry their blows, and you and Gregory sort of like are forced back towards the entrance to this chamber. Okay, it comes down to this. Nathaniel, you look across, you can see Rot-Eye Jack's about level with you, and he's like full ball, like sprinting towards this altar.
Cool. I'm gonna fucking full ball sprint towards the altar, but I'm going to cheat.
Okay, so normally this would just be opposed navigator rolls to like, see who gets there quickest.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to chuck. Basically, as I'm running, I'm going to chuck what's called a training sword that I got from Pierre underneath his feet to slow him down. Because I'm like, fuck, no!
Okay, not a problem. In fact, it also appears that it's occurred to Rot-Eye Jack, unsurprisingly enough, that he should also cheat.
Both are like, fucking go!
And whilst he's running, I'm basically going to have him use his stunts, that when he does like an underhand move, he can use his pirate score instead.
What am I doing? That's terrible. Wait, hold on. I've got a better idea. I should cheat the other way. I'm going to yell at the guy in front of them. I'm the new shaman. Throw me to stone. That's way better than trying to talk you through.
Right, okay.
I'm the new shaman. Throw me to stone.
Make an officer roll again. You're going to need like a +6 to like pull this shit off. Because
come on, all I need is a good roll, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. No. Yes. 4. Oh wow, you got a +6 as well. I spend one of my fate points on hardened academic on a high seas to make that a 6. Mm-hmm. Do I need to beat him?
Well, you need.
Don't I?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Because basically, otherwise you're gonna shout to that, and he's gonna be getting ready to throw it at the same time. Rot-Eye Jack reaches him and like runs him through and takes it.
That's a good point. All right, Roland, I need you to save us because I just spent my last fate point on Bloodless Thicker Than Water to get the stone.
Okay, so what happens in this scene is this: Nathaniel, you shout, "I'm the new shaman! Throw me the stone!" You see a look of uncertainty pass this drummer's face, but he lifts the stone and gets ready to throw it, and then there's a shink as Rot-Eye Jack swings his cutlass in one move, chops the guy's hand off, and just holds his hand out as the stone just plops.
No, I spent 2 fate points.
Oh, you spent 2 fate points?
Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. In which case, I shall revise that slightly. He throws the stone shortly before Rot-Eye Jack reaches him. You see it tumbling through the air slowly towards you. There's a as Rot-Eye Jack runs him through, looks back, and he's like, no, as the stone sort of like sails through the air. Rot-Eye Jack makes a leap for it. Which of you's going to get it?
I'm not very good at jumping.
Okay.
Could I give
navigator roll?
Could I give him a boost by trying to push Rot-Eye Jack back?
You can make an attack roll to create an advantage if you wish.
Yep.
Please do. I'm not gonna get that stone if you don't. Like, there's no way in hell.
Okay, yeah,
Minus-
you can
minus-
give
minus-
give him an advantage.
I'll
So
take
as
that.
Rotai Jack's like leaping through the air, suddenly like just this current of wind like hits him and sort of like knocks him down to the floor. He's still sort of going towards it. He's still gonna have to make a roll against him, but you've got the boost from the advantage, so it'll come down to a navigator roll since you're both trying to get to it quickly.
Oh my god, how am I gonna beat him on this? I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna make that roll. I'm the weakest person on the party.
Okay, I'm only beating you by 1.
If I spend both, I'll beat him by 3.
Okay,
I'll spend both.
not a problem. Rot-Eye Jack sort of his hands about an inch away from the stone, where literally you dive on top of the stone and you like feel it. It feels strangely warm, but you've got it in your hands, Nathaniel. You like, leap to your feet, but now you're facing Rot-Eye Jack, who obviously wants the stone. I think it's fairly safe to say.
If he's been pushed back a little bit, I'm gonna go. Time to go! I'm gonna start running towards fucking Roland as fast as I can. I have no choice.
Okay, not a problem. You start cheesing it across the room, basically, from where you are. Roland's trying to like frantically parry the blows from these headhunters. Speaking of which, can you make me a defense roll?
Hang in there, Roland. Oh my
Okay.
god, 6. Jesus Christ.
You're currently taking 2 stress. Captain Howe?
Yeah,
Your
I'm
microphone's
muted, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe I have a free invoke of your consequence, which I'll be using.
Yeah, you do.
Can I give him a bonus? Because I'm running behind him and I have the stone. Like, that's gotta be a distraction.
He could
And I'm
order
screaming,
them
New
to attack
shaman coming
Rotai
through!
Jack.
New shaman coming through!
Normally I'd say yes, but they've not really heard you because they're all like screaming and like trying to like attack and stab
Fair
him.
enough, I tried.
Do I still get a boost from Gregory, or is that now gone?
No, you've still got the boost from Gregory because that's like he's just like getting in the way and like helping you out.
I'll tie.
Ty, a fucking tie. We're so desperate. We're so close to the end.
Okay,
We're like, oh my god.
Not a problem. So basically, I've got a boost here because they've pressed you back, but they've not caused any damage. Again, you're like frantically trying to like parry these blows and like get behind me, Gregory. You're like fucking backing off towards the door when you just like hear like. It's like Nathaniel just goes like sprinting past you. So like putting on like a turn of speed you've not seen him like use in many a year. However, as you sort of like look past the frantic whir of blades that you're parrying, Roland, you see Rot-Eyed Jack draw out his other pistol. He takes careful aim at the sort of fleeing back of Nathaniel, cocks the pistol, and there's a as he fires it. Nathaniel, can you please make me a defense roll?
John,
Oh boy, this is gonna fucking hurt.
John,
Hello.
can I just point out that he's holding the stone?
Yeah.
The stone that
Well,
makes him immortal.
I'm aware of that.
Okay. Just because that means someone else is going to die, not him.
I'm aware of that.
I'm just pointing that out, and I'm the closest.
I'm entirely aware of how the curse works for the stone.
Guys, please don't kill Roland. This will suck. I got a 1. Is that bad? Minus.
I'm on a +2.
I don't have fate points to spend.
Okay, not a problem. And since with my stunt, I'm firing one of my pistols, I get to add a +2 to that, so it'll be 3 stress you're taking.
Ouch.
I'm gonna mark my 3 stress blocks like a boss.
Okay, not a problem. This gunshot hits you in the shoulder. You stagger a bit, but to use your momentum to like keep you going forward, you fall to one knee, but scramble up, still holding on to this stone. The weird thing is as you look down, you can see there's no like wound on your shoulder. From next to you, Roland, you hear a cry, and as you look around, you see like just like this wound opening like Gregory's shoulder, and like blood just starts leaking out of it. What do you do, Roland?
Oh, I see it. I thought it was Nathaniel that saw
No,
it.
you've seen it. Gregory's right next to you. Nathaniel's just trying to like get the fuck out of here.
So like, Gregory, what the hell? Oh.
He's put his hand up to it. He's like
That
shakes his head. He's like,
possible.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
So we've been backing away towards the entrance.
Pretty much. You're at the entrance. The natives are still like fighting you. Nathaniel's just running through the entrance. Rot-Eye Jack and his remaining man are now sort of like running across the chamber, but they're on the other side of it, so it's going to take them a while to get to you.
So is this chamber in an underground like place?
Yeah, it's sunk into the hill.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to work out how close we are to the bridge. And
Don't forget, you've still got the natives who are attacking you.
Yeah.
Dude, do some magical, powerful wind calling right now.
So how close is Nathaniel to me?
He's like gone past you. He's like heading out
Right.
that door.
Okay, cool. So my intention is to bring down part of the roof to block the doorway to give us some time. If that's possible.
Okay, no problem. At this point, I'm actually going to offer you a fate point for a compel.
Oh, that's just why now? Why like when when the tank is dry?
Dude, we have no fate points. We are literally out of fate points.
No, I've got
he
one.
can do
I've got
fucking
one left.
everything.
He's got one left. So as you're sort of like contemplating how you're going to get out of this, you feel like Gregory like take hold of your arm, and with sort of like a slight more strength to his voice, he looks at you and he goes, "Go, run for it."
Motherfucker, if you fucking run for it, I will fucking end
That's
you.
the thing, isn't it? Oh,
If you leave my fucking son, who I've literally just took a bullet for, behind, I will end you.
I can't believe I'm doing this, John, but I'm going to refuse to compel. I'm going to use my last fate point.
Okay, not a problem. So you sort of like shake him off and tell it. What do you say to him to like basically say you're not going along with this? It's obvious he's like, oh, I can't die. I'll hold them off. You run for it. What do you say to him?
I say, if you die, we all die.
He looks at you like you're mental. He like doesn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that wasn't really meant. I'm saying it to him, but really, I'm saying it to myself.
Okay, and the natives are crowding around you. You've got a few moments to like.
Because it's weird. Because like now, like as I'm like Rolly's on the edge now. He's just too much wind call, and
you've not got much time to think, Roland. The natives are like pressing you hard. What are you going to do? You've got a few moments.
Okay, I'm gonna try and bring down part of the ceiling on to block the doorway. Maybe not like perfectly like seal it, but give us like a few minutes.
Okay, so one glass before you do that, I'm going to ask you to make a navigator roll.
Yeah.
And this is just to see whether you, and it's going to be against my attack roll. And this is just to see whether you can get out of the exit before they like land another attack on you.
Okay, right. Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, I'm out of fate points.
Okay.
Don't die.
Roland,
don't die, please.
Okay, so how about this, John? How about I what I have to do basically, I push Gregory past me to go like get him with Nathaniel, and what I do is I bring it down, but I'm near point blank range, so to do it I take like a severe consequence. I basically like get like a shoulder like crushed.
Well, don't forget you'll have taken this damage from their attack before start bringing it down. Basically, this is you going, oh, I'm going to get through the exit, I'm going to bring it down, and they sort of like stab into you as you're trying to get through the exit. So you've got to take these 3 stress, and then if you're still active, then you can do your ting.
Yeah, okay, I've got to take a severe consequence.
What are you taking as your severe consequence?
Something piratey.
Maybe you'll lose a leg.
Yeah, severed leg or something.
Pin cushioned or something like
No,
that.
because I have to be able to heal, guys.
No, like
So we
pirate
can't
thing.
cut
Lose a
off
leg
his
or an eye. Go for it.
I'll lose an eye.
An eye is the
I'll
best
lose an
thing.
eye.
Okay, not a problem. You turn around and you sort of open your eyes and you're raising your hands to bring this down. Then there's this sickening like as one of these knives like goes into your eye. You feel like this wet explosion in the side of your face and your vision blurs.
My sniffly voice unfortunately cannot convey the true pain that this is right now. Ow.
Oh, aghast. I hurt it.
Oh my. Okay. now I can bring the house down.
You can indeed. Make me your roll. Effectively, it's an attack roll.
I need to roll well for once in my life.
Okay, not a problem. As you're pretty much bodily like dragged back by Gregory through the entrance to this chamber, you raise a shaking hand. You can barely see the sort of the stones, but you roughly remember where they are. And as you call the winds with like the last remain of your strength, you feel the stones start to shift, and then they collapse down, blocking the door. For a few moments, there's like as the rocks fall down, and dust billows into the corridor, causing you all to like choke and splutter. Although in your case, it's quite a weak sort of gurgling choke. Roland, Nathaniel, as you sort of like hear that and you risk slowing down and looking behind you, you see Gregory sort of like dragging Captain Howe along. You see like blood where all his eyes like missing, and he's cut. He's almost cut to ribbons. It's a miracle he's still alive. You can hear the sounds of like screaming from beyond as that Rot-Eye Jackson murders the remaining natives, and you hear him sort of like, you can't make out what he's saying, but he's obviously like cursing and like screaming at you guys as he's like trapped in this chamber. What do you guys do?
I'm gonna run back and I'm gonna try and help. I'm like basically put the stone away and try and help Roland get up with Gregory.
Okay, Roland pretty much can't move under his own power, but between you and Gregory, you're able to sort of like manhandle him. So we're going to jump forward a bit in time. We cut back to the ship. It's probably about half a day later after you've like travelled, etc. Pierre, you hear one of the lookouts go, "Quartermaster, there's someone on the beach."
So I've got my spyglass in hand. I'm gonna.
Yeah, you hear a shout from the crow's nest. You look out through your spyglass, and you see the battered form of like Nathaniel and his son being carried by, or helping to carry Captain Howe, who's like missing an eye. There's cuts all over him. You see that Gregory's like holding up the other arm, and they're pretty much carrying the captain across the beach.
Is there just the three of them?
There's just the three of them.
All right. So then I'll have. Well, I probably would have had a longboat ready. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
only
that's
10
fine.
minutes or whatever.
You've had more time. It's been a bit longer because I've had to travel across the island, but you've had more than enough time to prepare, so that's absolutely fine.
No, I mean 10 minutes just from the shore to the boat.
Yeah.
Can't be more than that. So.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, so I'll have a longboat ready for them, and welcome them aboard when they come aboard.
Okay, not a problem. A longboat sent out. You guys make it back to the boat. You pretty much have to like Gregory and Nathaniel. You have to like carry Captain Howe like, up on deck.
Get him to his room and send the doctor.
Okay.
What doctor?
Not a problem.
I'm not leaving Roland's side, and neither is Gregory. We're both gonna stay right there.
Well, someone's got to run the ship, so I'm gonna see to get the ship underway. Now that they're back on board, once we're on board, we're gonna keep going.
Okay, not a problem. You make the ship ready to sail, and you start heading back the way you came. Daedalus is obviously still with you. He still has the compass, so he can guide you back, and you escape from the island of La Fortuna. Bishop Devola.
We kind of need to take what's called Gregory's kids with us. It's kind of important. He brings his wife and kids if we're leaving.
No, I'm not. He's down below deck. I'm not bringing anybody else on board. No more fucking deals.
Gregory looks across at you, Nathaniel, and he says, I'm sorry, Father. I can't leave my family here. I'm going to have to go back.
Wait, I know, but when this is over, I'm going to come back and save you. But for now, I need you to watch over this.
He sort of holds his hand up and shakes his head. He says, no, if you're coming back, bring it with you. For now, you need to get that thing as far away from this place as you can. Otherwise, I don't have the strength when Jack eventually frees himself. I won't have the strength to stop him taking it. You need to take it far away. Like you say, you'll come back, and I believe you will. You can bring it back with you and save me then. I'll be waiting here for you. And he embraces you and hugs you. And he says, I know you'll be back, Father. I know you'll save me.
I'll be back, I promise. Now go see your family and find somewhere safe to hide.
At which point he turns around and he runs to the side of the ship and like, jumps over into the water. A few minutes later, you see him sort of like walking out of the water.
I would have
onto
given
the
you a
beach.
rowboat.
And he disappears up the beach, heading in the direction of the native village. You all have escaped the island of La Fortuna. Jack is, for the moment, trapped, although you've no doubt eventually he'll manage to free himself. He's got time, after all. But you sail away, following Daedalus's guidelines, carrying a king's ransom in gold, enough to make every person on board this ship wealthy beyond the wildest dreams of avarice, as you sail back first to the World's End Sea, and then to the more familiar Seven Seas beyond. So as we bring the campaign to a close, I'm going to ask each of you to give a little short epilogue as to what you envision happening with your character next. So we will start with our fearless quartermaster, Pierre.
So this is easy for Pierre. He is going, when we get back to shore, there's going to be a celebration, maybe a week-long celebration. And then he is going to, not in a mean way, but just in a kind of a friendly way, coerce as many of the men to join his new crew and his new ship, which will not be taking such risks and will not be getting caught up in government plans and stuff like that.
Okay,
and,
and
he's going to start. He's going to have his own crew and be his own captain.
And indeed, that is what happens. A number of the men, now being very wealthy, are planning on like retiring from the lifestyle. But there's some sort of hardened veterans who are born to be pirates, and they'll be pirates for as long as their days remain on the seas. But a number of the remaining crew do indeed come over to UPS, and as far as they're concerned, you've steered them right over all this voyage. You've made them wealthy men, and when you're like, oh, there's still plenty of plunder out there, lads, that we can take, they're like, do you know what? Yeah, we fancy a bit of that. So a lot of them do join you.
I just want to add too, I try and do it on good terms. Like I say goodbye to Captain Howe and Nathaniel, and I wish them luck in the future and whatever ventures they seek, but I tell them that they take more risks than I'm willing to see, you know what I mean? I like a little fun and a little danger, but this is crazy, just crazy, way over the top for him.
Okay, and you go your separate ways. So a while later, after you've healed Captain Howe, now wearing an eye patch and sort of being sort of quite rudely sort of like stitched together by the sawbones, what happens to Captain Howe as you make it back to the world that you know? We know that Pierre has left. Some of the men the crew have basically separated and gone their own ways. Pierre's taken some of the men with him and gone his own ways. He's got himself a nice ship. He's off on the Seventh Seas. Some of the men have still stayed with you. You can certainly take on more crew. What happens to Captain Howe in the epilogue?
So a number of things, believe it or not. In regards to Pierre, Roland will wish him the best of luck. He was a good and helpful quartermaster, always had the crew in his back. He knows he doesn't understand why Roland went to the hilt towards the end there, but he tries to explain it as a part personal, part wind calling, a kind of thing. He tries to tell him that sometimes you're called to do something, pun intended, and he felt he had to do it. What was the name of the company we worked for? I can't remember. We did establish this right at the beginning.
It was the Orcrest Trading Company.
Orcrest Trading. So he'll deal with business first. I don't know if he'll get to keep the ship, but he will return it. Mission accomplished. As far as anyone is concerned, for the moment, Right-Eyed Jack is dealt with.
Okay, you return this ship. You certainly have enough wealth to buy another one. That's not difficult.
Or I might buy it outright. Like I might buy the ship permanently as my own ship.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I'll tell them that as far as anyone's concerned, Right-Eyed Jack is dealt with. Because without Daedalus, it's much harder for him to get back for a start, even if he gets off the island. Then he's going to go looking for his daughter. That would be his main...
Okay, you believe that she's been taken to the Black Tower?
Possibly, yeah. Maybe working with Nathaniel, maybe not. I don't know what Nathaniel's going to be doing.
Okay, so
But if it comes down to ownership of the stone, I will let Nathaniel look after it for now. I don't want to touch it myself.
okay, so as the scene closes on Captain Howe, you set off towards the Black Tower of the Inquisition, intent on rescuing your daughter, but that's a tale for another time, perhaps. So now, as we begin to close, what happens to Bishop Devola in the epilogue?
So I have sort of a 3-part epilogue, which is the first part is that me saying goodbye to Pierre. Basically, me going, well, Pierre, maybe you're right. Maybe I do make a few more crazier deals and all that. I still get results though. If you're gonna go on your ship and go see the world, have fun out there. Just in case things don't go well, avoid Lawfoot for a while.
I smile. I thank him for the advice. I do truly wish you well, monsieur. It's just the darings you take are not the life I wish to
Let's not end an argument. We might never see each other again. But knowing my luck and the way things are, you're gonna be in a bar one day, and I'm gonna come running in. I'm gonna ask for your help, and you better say yes.
I smile. Perhaps. Bonne chance, mon ami.
On his way.
And you part ways.
Whatever that means, I says I walk past.
Okay, so on to the second part of your epilogue.
Now, the best thing is that as he leaves, I do watch him leave because I did care about Pierre. He did make a good point. If it weren't for him telling me that thing earlier, I wouldn't have turned around, even though he's the scum of the earth. And I still hate him, but I don't say anything else about it. I go on to Roland and I go, so, Roland, I kind of owe you one.
More than you know.
I need an army.
Right.
And I can't think of a place where I can find a bigger army more happy to go with my cause than raiding the Black Tower of the Inquisition. I have the Philosopher's Stone, and I have possibly one of the best wind callers I know. And you need your daughter back. With this, we might find a way to bring people's spirits back into their bodies.
Perhaps.
What'd you say, me, you, and Deadless go on an adventure?
Let's share a drink on this.
I think I will.
Let's make
and I'm
a
going to
deal.
sit down with him. I'm going to have a drink.
Okay.
And the final part would be me and Deadless on his ship, with me, the Philosopher's Stone, now like kept in a book that I keep specifically sealed next to me all times, heading towards the tower to go rescue his daughter.
Okay, and as the end credits begin to roll and the music plays, the camera zooms out, passing from the quarters of Bishop Devola on board Captain Howe's now ship that he owns, as Devola and Daedalus pore over the Philosopher's Stone, discussing how it can be best used. The camera zooms up, phasing through the decks of the ship, heading out into the sky beyond it. Then as we follow the gaze of the people on board, we see in the distance a small island, and rising from the center of it, a large black stone tower, a banner hanging from it, bearing the sign of the Inquisition. And that is where we end this session, and indeed this mini campaign. The fluttering of the Inquisition banner and the sound of the waves fades away to be left by the end credit music, and slowly things fade to black, with stories still yet to be told, but they might be told on another day. Thank you everyone who has watched any episodes of this mini campaign, and thank you of course to my 3 wonderful players, and of course to Sheaf, who played with us earlier on but unfortunately wasn't able to stay with us due to problems beyond his control. So thank you one and all. I hope you've enjoyed this campaign, and who knows, we might even pick up a further Storm and Sail campaign in the future. So does anyone have anything they want to say before I finish the broadcast?
Thank you very much for running it, John, as always.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun.
Well, I suppose it was okay. I love you, John. Please don't kill me.
And I think with those wise words, we'll just say again, thank you all for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this Storm and Sail campaign, and we may pick up again at some point in the future, perhaps with a different cast, perhaps continuing this story. Who knows? But we'll see you all soon. Take care.